We didn't start this fight. We just wanted to be heard. But silence isn't justice. So now we will unbury our words. We are the voices you pushed aside. We are the tears you justified. Family confront, warriors rise. With every story you try to hide. We held on to every moment, every memory, every name. And now we're done pretending this is anything but insane. You thought no one would ever see. Now we are everything you never expected us to be. We are the voices you pushed aside. We are the tears you justified. Family confront, warriors rise. With every story you try.
Jesus Christ. Nobody's ever set up right here. Hello, Kate. Everybody, it's Dave Weigel, Family Core Ford Warrior Project, July 27th. Monumental release. I've been doing this a long time, and I haven't found anybody that captured the sophistication, the pain, the heartbreak, but in the way that, doesn't get lost in people's trauma. This is the last few moments. It's not the best way to do it, but what I do is before every podcast is I listen to people's story again, right there. Hi, everybody. Hi. This is just so fucking big. Can we fucking set up our goddamn thing the right way? Like, what are we supposed to be in here? Has anyone figured this out? We've only hired 12 tech companies, and it always falls on damn Amy's shoulders, always. All right. Attention, tech team. I'm no longer fucking paying you a dime until you figure this the fuck out. Sorry, everybody. But this is the end of Kate's post. She's a recent new volunteer. And I said that where we are in the Warrior Project, believe it or not, is that we've come to the end of the line of figuring out how to try and deal with this within our existing system. Amy, you want to be on or no?
No, I wasn't trying to, but she said y'all were having.
All right, then figure out how the hell to move our screen around so, like, Kate's face doesn't have the things on, It's not your fault, Amy, okay? We had a tech guy that we just hired who, talk about millennials, right? Only a millennial you could hire, and they don't show up for 3 of the first 5 meetings and are surprised when they're fired, right? Only that generation could possibly have that reaction. This is Kate is a new volunteer.
Look at Kate's shirt.
We'll get to
Can you
that.
take a
We'll get
step
that.
back?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. It's important to finish this concept, Tony. This is really, really important stuff. I mean, global, historic stuff here. Kate's story is not unique. There's nothing new I've heard in the particulars of her story. What we've been trying to do is get the fucking message over the mountain, to everybody, normal people who the hell wants to talk about divorce? Who the hell wants to talk about child abuse? Who the hell wants to talk about corruption that nobody feels they can do anything about? Right. So when there's 22,000 people here, you bet your ass they're here for a reason. Okay. We're not doing any TikTok dances over here. Kate was a new volunteer, and I said, we'll get through where my case is. I want to keep
I
it.
can't hear Dave at all. Is that normal?
I want to keep it on,
I
the
don't hear
focus.
Dave at all. It stopped after the intro. Is that normal?
Kate,
What do I do?
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
Okay.
Um,
I don't hear him at all.
you should be hearing me because I'm speaking, and I
Okay.
hear
I can't
you.
hear him at all.
Okay.
What do I do?
Let me put you on mute, Kate,
Mm-hmm.
while you figure out how
Yep.
to, do your shit. Be wonderful if mute was a friggin' option here. Okay, mute. There we go. All right. No, as always, big round of applause and thank you to my whole team working around the clock. There's no such thing as Saturdays and Sundays or holidays at the Warrior Project because there's one more bomb that's been thrown on our lap. Didn't know Kate 2 weeks ago. And, here she is in our life providing this this monumental submission to the historic collection of facts of this story. I said, no. I was lucky. Others in the community had figured out and found this IAJ, this Cyrus guy who is independent and needs to be independent and basically is trying to run the same organization, an NGO that the USA was supposed to set up when the United Nations Convention Against Torture was established in 1985 and implemented in 1997. At that point, they should have had an NGO as part of the requirements, who's non-cancelable, and his job is to sit there and say, yes or no, there's torture going on in this country. Because guess what? If torture is happening, it's not happening at the preschools. It's not happening at the baseball field. It's happening at the governmental level. Right. So it has to be a non-cancelable. Now, the United States has not done that. This is something that we can remedy, I believe. Nothing is easy in this world that we live in right now, but getting this word out and getting these stories out is the right answer. No matter what, that's never ever going to be proven the wrong thing to do. Sitting here right now, I'm going to show you last piece of Kate's story. I said to everybody, I said, bottom line is we need to now show the torture. Everybody has done the 3 to 5 minute video. I said, tell us what they did to you. Tell us what they did to your children. I mean, the 3 to 5 minutes was extremely strategic, because the complex PTSD in this world leads everybody, and I mean everybody, to have the trauma dump. Okay. And it's just a trauma response, and it's natural, and it pushes away family and friends and everyone and yourself and your self-esteem. It's a sinister, disgusting level of mental abuse I find appalling. And I've dedicated my life to saying, I'm blowing off the potential of a. I run the top performing hedge fund, in fixed income in the world, and I could be sitting here 16 hours a day, and it could be promoting it, and shooting it out, getting it, seen on CNBC and everything. And it's just funny the level of, scoundrels out there that are just so desperate for attention to call me a fraud. I've left $5-7 million on the table the last 3 years by putting $250,000 into this project. These are facts that will be published, okay, with our tax reporting that is going to be happening like everybody else on September 15th. So I just want to put that out there. It just have to put out there because it's relevant. There's a lot of victims that are scared to come forward. All right. Because there are these pieces of shit and losers and hired people out there that of all the people to try to hate, all right, and shit on and lie about, right? It's like, I get it. I'm not the most likable guy in the world, but can we keep the focus on what the fuck we're doing here? Like, is it a big enough, important subject to keep it on the subject, right? And the amount of morons out there that are more interested in the drama is the reason why I am very, very scared, okay, that we will not win this thing without more people stepping up and changing and becoming a hero like Kate, okay? I'm going to give you just the last few seconds of her passing.
Like, I believed in our legal system before this, and I've been guilty until proven innocent. And my own family hasn't been there for him or for me. They let him rot in a group home for 234 days. And I know bad stuff happened to him. I can feel it in my gut when he was there. And he begs to go back to a group home all the time. Like, what child begs to go back to a group home because the people he lives with are mentally and emotionally abusing him? And the state heard him talk about it, and they shut him up because they're liable for the foster parents' behavior and actions because they're employees of DCFS of Nevada. And even if I get him back, I don't want to say if, when I get him back, because I will not give up on my baby ever. He's never going to be the same again. I'm never going to be the same again. They stole so many holidays for me. Like, I didn't get him for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. They kept him for Valentine's Day. They kept him for 3 weeks during February over his birthday. I didn't get to even talk to him on his 7th birthday. They wanted to let me do a video visit or a phone call, and he was off school for the week. It's summer right now, and I can't even go to a park with my child. It's just so wrong. It's so wrong, and our system needs to change because it's destroying innocent families. And the kids who really do need to get removed aren't, because as a preschool teacher, I've called CPS multiple times for kids having handprints on their faces, children being sexually abused, and their families were never even investigated. Like, parents came up to me months later and said, I know you weren't allowed to say anything, but I know you had to call because it was a divorced family, and I had to ask, like, if the child fell and hurt her face. And they said no one even investigated it when the ex-husband had a history of abuse and convictions for domestic violence. And he's the one who dropped the little girl off at school with a handprint on her face, and she told me her daddy hit her. And my son says, my mommy never hurt me. She's nice to me. She's not crazy. And she doesn't even do drugs. I don't even understand why I'm in foster care. And they don't care. Because once they have your kid, they can say and do whatever they want. I've watched 2 caseworkers lie on the stand, perjure themselves. I record every visit with my child. And literally, their notes that my old attorney was able to get are a complete 180 of the actual audio of the visit. They literally lie and make things up and say things happen that never happened to make it seem like I'm unstable. And any parent who's being tortured and not having their child there would be unstable, but I'm not even. Every time I go in, I put my best foot forward and I just focus solely on my child and on giving him the love that he's lacking everywhere else and letting him know how much I love him and taking pictures and telling him what a good boy he is and how kind he is and how brave he is and how smart he is, and trying to refute the things that have now become part of his internal self-talk, like he's clumsy or he's pathetic or dramatic, and those are all things that are being said to him. And if I did any of those things, they would have taken him. But the foster parents say, oh, I don't know what he's talking about, and the state just goes with it. So how does that make sense? Like, the math isn't mathing. The only thing that makes sense is America is corrupt and it's broken. And they steal people's children for money, and they don't care about the kids. They don't care about the kids or their well-being at all, because if they did, they would not allow this to happen. And I have a necklace with his name and his birth date on it, and I never, ever, ever take it off so I can feel closer to him. Like, just, this whole thing is just so wrong. It's so awful. I feel like I'm just rambling, but it's just not fair. And they destroy good people. I'm afraid to ever take him to the doctor. I'm afraid to ever take him to the hospital. I'm afraid to do anything. But it's okay for the foster parents to, like, not make him floss his teeth, to the point the dentist said he's going to get cavities. And I asked today if he's flossing his teeth, and he's like, no. So it's okay for him to be completely neglected. But I'm crazy if I mention things that are happening there that are not okay. And wouldn't a good parent not be okay with their child being neglected? But no, that just is twisted by the state into I'm not okay. There's something so wrong with me. So this is just a serious problem in America, and people need to do something about it. Because everyone assumes it happened for a good reason, and it didn't. I know too many people this has happened to. I know too much now. I will never see our country the same as again. I couldn't even celebrate the 4th of July because I'm not even free to parent my child.
Hold on.
In this country.
Hold this.
In 2026.
What?
I just finished the supervised visitation with my son at the DCFS office.
Okay, stop that, please. Everybody heard that, right? Can I hear you, Kate? Jesus Christ, you're muted. Oh wait, I did that part. Hold on. That one's on me, people. The frick? Say something, Kate. Testing, 1, 2, 3. She's not on mute. I'm sorry, everyone. Just please. Technical difficulty here. Baby, turn that the fuck off. I'm sorry.
You can hear.
Yeah, no, babe. The problem is I can't hear her. All right. That's what I'm trying to figure out. She's not on mute. Okay, now I'm muted. Something.
It says the host unmuted your mic.
Okay, yay. Please turn that off. Please turn it off. Thank you.
Hey, Dave.
I'm sorry. This is why people don't like. Maybe turn it off your fucking phone. I'm sorry.
Do you like my shirt? It came like an hour before the podcast.
In the volume. Thank you. I still hear it on your phone. I'm sorry, guys. It just. I don't know how you have at all, or have a brain, and be able to see that video. And I love the little global poll in like certain segments of society. You know, what was your immediate response to that? The whole bar association. every lawyer connected to a lawyer, connected to this dirty system. We're talking to you right now. My lawyers over here, coalition that we're forming. I great hilarious advice. Steve, can you keep a low profile? I was like, have you met me for 4 seconds? Well, the whole point of this, but I know what I mean. But no. When there's a mother or father in crisis, and you, okay, retards that need to complain about something, and everywhere you look is shit. It's greed and people just serving themselves, right? And we have an altruistic community here that we're trying to get off the ground and trying to do something and succeed. Against an incredible outrageous fight. This is a street fight with 20 on 1. Right? And these people, like especially now, are stepping up knowing. Now, I don't talk to anyone without warning them about the retaliation. But my attitude is, I talked to Kate for an hour and a half. It was like yesterday, 2 days ago. She's next door hero, man. She's a ballsy bitch. Smart. Let me just tell you. I tell people all the time, and I swear I will shut up, Kate. Trying to tell people from the outside, like especially if they have it in their hand, in their arm, or something like this. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, look me in the eye. I make them focus for a couple seconds, right? And I really and I want them to get this. Someone comes in your home and takes your child out of your life. How do you sleep day 1?
I don't.
Day 3, day 7. But nobody around day 1, day 200. I've been telling a lot of people here in Europe who are extremely excited about what we're doing from top to bottom. And they just came to say that it was like, this is happening in America? And I'm like, yeah. And let me tell you something. When America takes that shit, you all smell it. Okay? It's only a matter of time until it floats on the other side. I hate this because I had a really big point to make that was going to make it really much better than what I'm doing right now. But a stupid delay on my camera, on my phone thing that's bothering me like crazy. But I always said the beauty of this thing, the genius of the thing is authenticity. Like whatever it is going on. If I'm an asshole yelling at my girlfriend, right? Sorry, fiance. I'm getting for that one. Honestly, her situation, and Cindy has been a warrior genius to insulate herself a certain way, right? To survive this. If you've had your children taken, you have only one. If you've just survived, you're and you're worthy. And I won't until you are. Right, but especially now, Kate's keeping up in the face of knowing that their only game plan is we've got to cut off the head of David Weigel. We've got to cut off the head of every advocate out there. We've got to hire every troll, idiot, moron that is going to try to discredit us in any way, shape, or form. But what they've shown the world, obviously Donald Trump, Yeah, obviously it didn't hurt him that much. The 38 film, so I'm kind of going on that, man. But they can take your freedom. You know, I said in another post, I was like, a lot of times people come to us and they say they're taking everything. I'm at my bottom. I tried everything. I've done everything that these companies do. You mentioned that, Kate, in your thing. And that's the thing that hurts me so much is seeing people in mid-cycle, you know, and they're just doing everything that they say. And I'm like, want to grab their shoulders and scream at them and say, you're not in a legal process. You're mentally ill right now. You're just sick. Just listen, right? I mean, and we're getting there. It's not just a Warrior Project. There's a lot of other, you know, really good people doing good work. There's more asshole narcissist jerk-offs out there that need to get out of the community. I'm officially saying this is the only project that okay, as far as putting forth an offensive effort to putting an end to this. Okay, if you're not part of the Warrior Project, the days of playing like, you know, no. We've lapped to 18 freaking times. Okay, we are here sitting down with world leaders and putting together international criminal complaint against the United States of America, the United Nations Convention Against Torture, signed off by over 100 countries. The United States of America is only 5% of the population, the global population. And we're 25% of the global prison population. But what everybody doesn't know, but they will know before they put it in the box, that this is the result of the largest regulatory fraud of all time, the Bar Association of the United States of America. Not international. All right, works international. All right. But what you're seeing, what hate capture is the output, the exact output of when you create a town without a police force, the 4 to 6% narcissist, sociopath run wild. And then you have everybody like the cop you saw showing up, pretending he's doing his duty, the Sharon Strong's daughter, and doesn't even catch the words coming out of his mouth saying, you as the biological mom have no legal rights to your child. I'm really finding it hard not to hate this guy, and because we have a great relationship with the guys in the blue. But you pussies better start speaking up, all right? Because somebody's jumped in the pool first. You're waiting for somebody to jump in the pool. I jumped in the pool. Okay. So now it's just, my pension. Or am I going to turn a 16-year-old to a monster who's going to abuse this girl the second I drop them off? And you know it in your home, what you're doing. And I'm just telling you, we're watching everything. You're never going to shut us down. You're never going to shut down this idea, right? It's the idea. We combine the internet is permanent public record. Social media is a way to collect people that would have never met each other. Had any other reason. In never a million years. We never met each other. Who spread out. The genius behind how they've kept this quiet for 40 years. It really is. But they don't realize that what the machine we created breaks, right? Oh, you voided 97.8% of 111,000 fucking bar complaints that came in. What if we had 111,000 bar complaints for dog groomers, Kate? Do you think that there might be a report on Channel 4?
Absolutely.
It's just one of the many. I want them to see me angry. Anger is, but don't kid yourself. My mind is completely fine-tuned. I've never been thinking more on point and ahead of all of you motherfuckers than right now. Because Kate Malone is willing to take the potential retaliation to stand her ground. And with that, I bring Warrior Project in the world. Thank you, everyone from around the world, and especially Europe, getting behind us here. It is different. Look, our project is still niche, right? There's a castle. We had to find the weakest door and send our fiercest warriors. Once we breach,
Dave, can you hear me? There is a horrible echo and people are leaving. It's horrible.
It's a horrible echo.
It's terrible. But we're losing viewers. So this has to stop.
Are you sure? Okay, I'm gonna log back out. I'm sorry. This is really. I wish somebody was told me sooner.
We've been blowing up Cindy's phone trying to tell her and not getting any answers. So that's why I had to interrupt. I'm really sorry.
I'm really sorry too, guys. I have no idea why it's happening. Guys, we just lost the tech people. And I don't know why Scott's not here covering. That would have been some forward thinking. Let me log out and log back in. I'm sorry. This is a really important conversation. I'm so sorry that in this ridiculous lag. I thought somebody didn't know how to turn her phone off when it was just actually her phone doing this. Let me just try to come back. Hey guys, any better?
Much better.
Okay.
Much better. Okay.
All right. Okay, so we are learning. Next time, Cindy, never turn your phone off if you're sitting next to me when people are trying to get in touch with us. Thank you, Kristen. Let me add Kate Malone back to the screen. Don't know why she got. Oh,
I left because I couldn't hear you again.
Yes, there's something with your phone. There's something with your device. This is only happening when you log in.
It's Kate's.
On my laptop.
Yeah.
It's Kate's.
Should I turn off my cell phone even though it's on vibrate?
I'll bore everybody with some world important news. Please completely turn off your computer, log off, log back on. I mean, sometimes honestly that works the best. This is the element, okay? I promise I will shut up at one point. I promise. I promise you. Hey, Kristen, are you still there?
I am. I'm here.
You got your camera turned off because you haven't spent 72 hours.
I don't spend 72 hours. I do look like crap, though. I sweated really bad today.
This girl works over here. But I want to keep... was the message completely lost because of the... I mean, people, if you wouldn't mind, do you want us to like rehash what we talked about? Did people not...
I mean, it was so annoying. I don't think anybody was listening to what you were saying. We were trying to get past the echo.
But even the recording of her
no, that was not. That wasn't echoing. That worked really well.
It was just my talking.
It was when you were talking. I didn't hear it when she was talking, just when you were talking.
Yeah.
It was.
Well,
I don't know. Like, I mean,
this is a new one. I mean, like, it's definitely Kate's like computer. Hey, welcome to Tech Talk here, the Family Court Fraud Warrior Project. This is what you get when you can only spend $12,000 to $14,000 a month, okay, running a charity, but no one to be able to competently handle the technology. And I'm not talking about people that I have. Talking
well,
about,
I mean, yeah, because Amy does a great job for being somebody who's untrained and has never done it before. So
it's
she
like
does
throwing a
really good job.
fireman in saying, go do brain surgery.
Right.
You know, and that's
did-
what we've done
she's
with
doing great.
everybody. And really, thank you to everybody, you know, tuning in. No one's got an attention span beyond a flea these days. We are trying to get this message out over the hill to normal people, but it's got to be a conversation. And until Kate comes back on, well, let's rehash her story. I mean, you know, she came in as a new volunteer, and I'm in the midst of this global thing that I just announced before, and I don't care because why is Dave Weigel telling the other side what he's doing? Well, I'm not telling everything. And when you're dealing with bullies and cowards and people that can beat up and make their money on trafficking children, hitting women, even that piece of shit cop. I'm sorry, dude. You're a piece of shit just for saying. Yeah. Why'd you need to say? Right. You know why he needed to say you're a mother. Your natural born mother have no rights to your child.
There
That
wasn't
was
reason to say that.
the. I'm
So
too much.
thanks for the-
I'm too much of a coward to admit that I don't have the guts to go investigate who I'm supposed to investigate.
Right. He's a cop. He could have went and investigated at least.
Right.
Not just take her to the hospital and then take her back to the.
No. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hurt you more than you're hurt right now. All right. I'm the guy who shows up in the blue and the shiny in a woo-woo car, and he just kicked a victim mother on the ground. All right. And you know what? This is why
All right,
the
guys, I'm
Warrior
going to take
Project
off.
exists.
She's back. Oh no, wait, that was Amy.
That's Amy. Amy, you know, does she have the link or whatever? Maybe it's taken some time. Maybe she's having a problem with her computer. But these two things that we just posted the last 2 days probably are the biggest things since my daughter's 20-minute recording of my ex, because it is so rare to get a fly on the wall. All right, a fly on the wall, like all of these situations, divorces and all that. It's he said, she said, right?
There she is.
It's he said, she said. And oh, good gracious. Let's see what kind of a thing we're supposed to be at here. No. The things are supposed to be on the other side. Whatever. Oh my God. So, why can't this just move over? Move the friggin' the comments over so it's not over Kate's face. I'm yelling, and Amy is sitting there and punching her voodoo doll of me that she has. Kate, I want to get into your story, but I want to really preface it the right way. And I want to just let everybody know. I mean, I was just talking about how brave you are, because now at this point right now, we have to advise people, like, they're brazen. All right. Mm-hmm. This is now like mafia, right? Like, I printed in the press passport stamps proving I wasn't in the country at days they have on my record that I was arrested. And their answer to that was to do it 3 more times. Right? So that's a mafia move. Mm-hmm. That's a mafia strategy. All you people that have read The Art of War and all this other stuff. My mother's maiden name is Corleone. Okay, that's a mafia move. All right, that's telling you who has the power. And our answer to that, sir, is that we're the biggest mafia in the world now. Because no matter what Kate did is never coming off the internet. What the Warrior Project has set up is never coming off. We can have 8,000 Facebook groups with retards out there just serving self. Welcome to the world. The Warrior Project is only growing. This is the place of legitimacy. This is the place that is only one that's ever had a plan that didn't require going back to the same people that are robbing you to say, now you have to agree that you've been robbing me. Duh. I don't mean to insult people. I was there. If you talked to me 3 years ago, I would have been telling you about the federal case I was going to bring until I started taking a look into that. And I guess being a researcher or whatever, and other people aren't, saw that 0 have succeeded. And I looked at RICOs and saw 0 have succeeded. And 0 is a very, very important number, right? We proved 98.7% of the, Bar Association complaints have been manufactured to be invalid by stated policy confirmed 51 times in 50. This is why you're fucked, gentlemen, right? Is because it's your own annual reports, right? You didn't think, I knew I was going to put all this stuff together. You never thought social media, all these victims would come together. You thought as soon as you threw out the complaint, that was the end of it. Well, sorry. Warrior Project, okay, has been created. And now we're all working together and we're getting the complaints sent in directly from the victims. And then we're getting what's more important is, and I want everyone to understand this, Jordan Peterson coined this perfectly. Right now with YouTube and other social media, the spoken word has now become more vital, more important than the written word. Right? It used to be what made it to a book, what made it to, but no, this is how humans learn. This is how humans see. And that's why I act the way that I do, for authenticity, because I don't know how you can sit there and watch your video in any way, shape, or form, not want to throw your coffee cup into your television. But that's not what people do. And that's what I was saying before, Kate. Like, imagine, like, as you start telling people, and we can go into these stories of like when people turn off their ears, like, hey, Kate, how you doing? Well, you want to know? And God forbid you get into the story, right? And it's just like when they like dial back and stuff, right? But
or they say they'll pray for me. That's what they'll say. They say, and then I never hear from him again.
Yeah. Because they just don't want to think about it. It's walking past the foster care place, right? Like this, kind of a thing. It's what we've done. And you know what? Honestly, if people told me about this, I mean, I'm just, this is just not me. It's not me. I've always had a situation with justice. You know what I mean? And injustices and stuff like this. But I think that this is what brings this community, what makes this community so awesome and relevant and valid, is that the fact that we're all together is the validation. I shouldn't be here. Okay. It was a fluke. I stepped up because I said, Dave, you've already been investigated 6 times by the SEC. They can't call you a fraud as easy as other people, right? You broke off from the big banks, right? Now, you're not going to fire yourself, right? A number of people have said, hey, this is going to be dangerous. You're picking a fight with every dirty judge and every dirty attorney in the United States of America. People die from this. And I was just well aware of that. But I'm in this in-between zone that, like, I I don't know. Like, if I die, there's certain people that are definitely getting investigated. So it's just like eyeballs. I was trying to tell people that are afraid to come forward, right? That have suffered retaliation. Only what my experience has been. And the first time I was in my apartment in Manhattan, like like hearing a bang on the door that the doorman didn't call up, the level of anxiety and panic attack, being arrested falsely 5 times, one resulting in Rikers Island, a non-criminal money manager. I'm sitting in my office at 9:30 in the morning, right? And the thing is that kind of absurdity, it's like they call me the crazy guy on the internet, right? Because the strategy, right? It's the content is so crazy what I'm talking about. That can't be true. Can't be true. Cindy told me, she was like, when I first saw you, Dave, I mean, my first response was, you've got to have some sort of you got to be making money somewhere. You got to be doing, something, you're probably a fraud, right? Like most, people out there are, unfortunately, or whatever. But this is all where this is hidden, right? How is Kate sitting here today? Where's the 5 alarm fire? Fixing Kate's problem. Right? This has to be our 5 alarm fire. There's no place to go, right? We've banged down every door. It's not up to me to bang the doors of the FBI. Okay, you guys are studying this all day long, every day. You know about it. The problem is your bar card holders, right? But you all got to sit there and figure. We've already proven the Bar Association is the largest regulatory fraud of all times. Those numbers, that analysis is never going away. So the question is, when do you jump ship? When do you be a good guy? All right. This is the transition point you guys are at. Because if you think things are going to stay status quo now, oh, no. It turns out there's a lot of people around the world that don't like America, don't like our politics, don't like basically the assholes that come and don't respect people's cultures and stuff. And there's assholes over here too that, everywhere, right? But the bottom line is that I remember one person telling me, they think that they what happens in America is it affects them so much. They feel they should have a right to participate in our elections. Bottom line is, I'm sorry for taking up so much time, Kate.
No, you're good.
I'm so appreciative. I was feeling like 2 weeks ago and just seeing the nothing participation on the site, and I was like, they're winning. All right. They're letting everybody know. And then the worst part also is the people that are afraid to post because the trolls will find them and send a nasty IM, right? Really? Right. We're in the war of a century, and that's what scared you off. Yeah, I don't think you might be strong enough to be a warrior. It does say warrior on the door. Okay. But it doesn't take a lot of us, but it does take enough of us to stick together and love each other. I think Kate's already realized we are a family here. Mm-hmm. A very important family. And I really believe she's going to be, and has nothing to do with her wearing an I Love Dave Weigel shirt, which I'm ridiculously embarrassed about and hilarious and awesome. My college friends are, the amount that they're cringing right now and punching themselves in the face, it's Wayne, Tommy, Vinny. That's for you, buddy. That's for you. I'll shut up. Kate, how could you possibly add to what you did in that video?
Oh, I have so much I could say. But really, today's day 545. It's impossible for me not to know. And it's weird because it's coming up on 18 months on Wednesday, the 29th. And it was a Wednesday, the 29th of January, when I was served with the papers that contain completely false information. And so I'm coming up on 18 months. I've been doing everything their way, and it's getting me nowhere. And so this is my child. And this isn't just about my case, this is about everyone's cases. And so I'm trying to help show people that, yeah, retaliation is possible. But if I don't stand up and speak out about it, then they're just going to keep doing the same stuff they do. Do you know how many times a day I've seen in different Facebook groups people say, I completed every requirement asked of me and they still terminated my rights? And this is my freaking child. You know, he's my blood. I grew him. And I love that baby so, so much. And the fact that this is going on, it's just like the biggest gaslighting experience of my life. And I brought out a binder. I have 5 of them, but the one that contained the initial removal papers. And really, essentially, what happened is I realized they crafted a narrative, and then they had a bunch of other people just continue with that same narrative. And so by the time it got to the removal papers, nothing was even true. And in fact, at my evidentiary hearing 3 months after the removal, the doctor for the hospital even refuted all 3 of the things that were the basis for him being taken. And that was 15 months ago, and he's still in DCFS custody. And since they started trying to terminate my rights, which was in November 24th of last year, the visitations have gotten stricter. They've gotten more and more crazy. Anytime I've spoken up against them about what they're doing and how wrong it is, the first time it went from unsupervised visitation to immediately supervised, and then getting assaulted by the caseworker. Her name's Brittany Best, who works for DCFS of Carson City.
Hold on. What is her name?
Brittany, Brittany, Best, BEST. And she works for DCFS of Carson City, Nevada.
Of Carson City, Nevada. Okay. Mm-hmm. Is this an honest person with integrity?
Absolutely not. I have her on audio assaulting me, and then I videoed her and asked her why twice because it cut it off at the beginning. And she's so dumb that she repeated again why she grabbed me and ripped me off my child when I was buckling him into the car. Then she knocked the phone out of my hand, and I have a video of my child driving away, throwing things at her head. And she's like, call the cops. So I did. And
call the cops.
Because she knew I'm in a small little podunk town. She knew that they'd have her back. So this happened at 4:45.
But she didn't know that she's going to be made globally famous and part of the public record forever as a scoundrel. All right. And you know what? We're not here to hate on people because honestly, for me to get out of bed in the morning, I have to believe that it's more about bad behavior than it is bad people. And because it's bad structure, okay? You take the prisons. You put a human in a cage. You get a caged animal, okay, in return, all right? What makes me so upset about America is it's been too good for us for too long for society to give a shit about what they need to give a shit about. And then they're lazy, fat, and intellectually lazy. Okay. And I'm here to be the asshole that tries to just say anything to rattle their head. All right. So it stays in their head. I'm walking around Europe here, and when you're talking to the hot dog salesman or the president of the country, everybody understands that freedom isn't free, that they're part of a society. They have to contribute to it. And if you just be a lazy jerk off, you're eventually going to realize those fundamentals. Okay. I'll be frank with you. There's only one country in the world right now. It's called the Mag 7, the Magnificent 7 tech stocks that own the world. All right. I'm not going to get into the economic aspects of it or the power that they have all the money. All right. They run the world. Right. We need them. I'm not going to piss them off. I will be honest and say that I believe Facebook has tried to wiggle away from supporting First Amendment and America properly by purposely making very, very, very shit technology. I know you guys are better than that. The lives come on. That was so sophomoric. All right. But you haven't shut us down. All right. Kind of do feel like we've been shadow banned. I don't want to give you guys a gold star. All right. Because I know that was a strategic move. Shutting down the Warrior Project would have been a bigger legal problem for you than letting us exist. But I know you're caught in between and you're getting caught by your lawyers and everything. But what everyone needs to do is go and evaluate the proof that we have provided that the Bar Association is the largest regulatory fraud of all times. So now you have this nuclear combination. Judicial discretion. The discretion to pretend words don't mean words. The discretion to pretend the Constitution doesn't exist. The discretion to pretend I'm a god. To pretend the discretion to pretend I'm the devil. You know, I get to remove a child and hurt you. You need to respect me. I said jump. You didn't say how high. I'm taking your child from you. You do not give, okay, people at CPS, I'm sorry, I'm going to be pompous now, okay? These are not intelligent people, not high achievers, okay?
All they have to have is a bachelor's degree, and it can be in literally anything. So they're not.
They
even
went to
social workers.
community college. They've been slackers and shitty underachievers your whole fucking life. And the only reason you would ever take this job is because you hate yourself so much that you having this power to do something so horrific to somebody else somehow makes up for all of your loser shit your entire freaking life. And what I'm telling you is please get on my radar. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to follow up and we're going to show and we're going to post, okay, the picture and the name of this individual, okay, because we have a very sophisticated vetting situation. All right. I spent 15,000 hours putting thought into this thing, the same thought process that went into my top performing hedge fund. It's all behavioral science based. All right. This truth and transparency machine works. Looking in someone's eyes and having them sit there and say, Kate sitting there, right, just right now, doing the video that she did. All right. If she was full of shit,
I wouldn't have posted it.
She would be here. She would be here. There are wackos. We've had some real narcissist wackos that live on planet like blue blah, you know what I mean? And that have done that. And, you know, the reality with the narcissist is you have to check the record, right? I mean, Dr. Robert Hare, the most intelligent person, they named the checklist after him. So when they determine if you're a sociopath, if you get, thrown in prison, the actual test is the Hare psychopathy checklist. So if anyone wants to know if they're dealing with a psychopath, it is a very sophisticated, it is the gold standard of what's used in the criminal justice system. Why am I telling you that? I'm having a brain fart.
Because you probably have to be a sociopath or a psychopath to be able to steal people's children and actually sleep at night every night.
The beautiful thing is that was the education that I did that helped me the most. All right. I studied and thankfully was in a position to hire Jill Weiss, okay, which is one of the smartest people out there on narcissists. I thought I knew what a narcissist was, right? The whole idea of a narcissist is nobody's brain works that way. That's how they exist. You don't catch them because you're like, what? Nobody's brain would work that way. But they've been able to just go boom to boom to boom to boom, like place to place to place to place, and exist this way. But we have a different machine that has the ability to, expose them. Doug Sheridan, okay, and Jill Sheridan are frauds. They're out there trying to say the assumptive close. We're collecting people for the class action lawsuit against Dave Weigel. underlying assumption is this is not bullshit, that there's actually more people involved. No, there's not, morons, because everything that I do is public, right? 6 audits from the SEC, but hold on. Doug Sheridan, $85,000 a year, IT support guy, he figured out Weigel was sitting there hiding his criminal intent for 30 years, waiting to jump at this moment right now to steal Kate Malone's money that we don't charge you for, or I don't know, but it's just, this is what I'm talking about, people. It's time these people, okay? Justin Rakeface, nicely smiley, okay? Ridiculous, okay? Enough already, all right? This guy's a leader. This guy is an able-bodied white male growing up in the United States of America. You've already been rolled the dice and hit 7s. But he chooses to live off all of our tax dollars in Section 8. That's how much he cares about his kids. When I solved all his problems, and he sat there and he rage baited me for 2 weeks to try and say to everybody, hey, Dave doesn't let us post, but we want to post it. And it's just like, I even had a friend who's an oral surgeon that offered to fix that horrible, freaking disgusting mouth of his. And I would never be this horrible. I'm this horrible to him because I loved him. Okay. I gave him a computer. He had a problem, gave him a computer. I offered to pay him 2 months in advance to get his family safe. But he had already made the decision. These people are as much the enemy as the enemy. And it's up to us to now come together in the right place. And let me tell you something. There's only one right place. It's the Warrior Project, okay? All right, Jessica Saxton, you've run around and you've freaking, performed in every freaking venue under the sun about like they don't know, and you've helped zero anyone, and you're asking people for money. And Jesus, what kind of character do you have? A guy that I'm assuming you said I love you to on more than a few occasions, you've publicly outed as taking donation money to pay for transvestite hookers, right? So were you serving the world with that, darling? Were you serving the world? No, you're a fraud, okay? You're a fraud from the beginning, all right? And I always shut up because I was like, whatever she's doing, I respect her game. She's getting, right, it's for the community. And if it wasn't this being like the 20th freaking time she's trying to backdoor invalidate, it's anytime we get any kind of major attention, she just copies us, okay? But it's also to hurt us too. And this is a woman that I provided a home to. I gave her my Airstream. And you know how she repaid me? She decided not to pay all the tolls on the way back to interrupt my father's 80th birthday party and give me a 15-minute warning. Hey, we're dumping your Airstream back. Gee, thanks for providing a home for me to live in for 4 months or whatever it is. But the greatest part was 2 months later, opening up my mail and getting all the tickets that they just decided not to pay on the way up, right? So listen, we just have to be honest, all right? The internet collects narcissists. It collects people that are like, hey, look at me. Hey, look. It's very, very hard to know who to trust. We have education series. We try to make it educational. And we are going to stick to truth and transparency and the behavioral change machine. And that is highlighting and holding up great behavior. Kate, I'm going to shut up again. Jesus Christ, why is it so hard for me to shut up? And also expose the scum. All right. And this is going to work. If we can get behind this is going to work, right? It really can. We were talking about it like a couple of days ago. Okay. Kate, by the way, is very, very educated, very smart. Give us your background, dear. Like what, and how are you sewed together? Like you should be I should be staring at a basket case that's like bouncing off the walls right now. Like, how are you doing it?
How am I doing? Is that what you said?
How are you doing it? How are you keeping yourself together? How are you keeping yourself sane?
Honestly, the reason I am sane is because I'm a part of the Warrior Project. Because it gives me a way to channel my anger and rage into helping other people. Because my whole life I've worked with kids and I've always cared about, like, no matter what profession I had, when I was a little kid, I was like, I just want to make sure I make a difference in the world. And, I've babysat since I was 9. I'm 46, almost 47. Never been arrested to this day. I mean, I don't want to say yet because who knows, maybe I'll get like a contempt charge or, something, in retaliation. But, I'm an educator. I have a college degree. I actually took 240 units, and you only need 120 for a bachelor's, but I couldn't really decide what I wanted to do. So the irony of it is I majored in social work. That's what my actual degree is in. And I had a professor who said you would be phenomenal working at CPS because he'd worked at CPS. But he said, honestly, the good people burn out really quickly. And I didn't understand what he meant. And this was over 20 years ago. But I've seen in my own experience dealing with CPS that there are some people who seem nice and then they're gone because their bosses make them make certain calls that they don't want to make. So it's like, if you want to keep your job, you're going to lie on the stand and you're going to say that this child is best off without his mother. So Brittany Best was one of them who just didn't need coaching or coercion to say that my son Hunter was best off if my rights were terminated in November.
Just that God level of king-like power just being handed to like picture going over to like JFK airport, right? And like finding somebody that's like loading like some like, luggage or something, being like, hey, do you want to have godlike power and control over the most precious thing you could ever have is the bond between a mother and a child, a father and a child. So, which brings us to the system. All right. We're going to show your face, Kate, okay, because you need to be exposed. All right. You're not unique. You're part of the problem. Okay. You're a disgusting human being. Okay. For taking her child away. Now I'm going to expose you for the loser that you are. We're going to go through your training and your lack of expertise and your lack of authority and audacity to think that you can decide when we all know why now you've done it. There's a financial incentive. Okay. The structure of the system. There's
the adoption bonuses.
That's it. Okay. Now, these people that can justify that. I mean, again, that cop that could utter the goddamn words. He had to say that. He had to tell her that, Sharon Strong. You as biological mother have no rights to your kids. Wait, translation, I'm a coward. I will not stand up to the system. I don't want to lose my pension, but I still want to think I'm a big guy, strong guy, right? Well, guess what? My gun's bigger than yours. All right. The ability now to show the culprits, show what they've done. All right. Have it on permanent public record. Let me explain that again, guys. Okay. Everything else has a shelf life. All right. Could be a podcast, could be this, could be, a book or people talk about it for a little while. And internet is crazy, man. This thing, this wall of shame, wall of fame, it's permanent. It exists every day. Every single day, every corner of the earth. It's another day that another victim can be found in your history. So narcissists, we built a machine to destroy you. So keep coming after me. It's so hilarious. Okay. It's just so stupid. It's like even if I was a chicken fucker on the weekends, okay, the plan's still a plan, and it's still brilliant, and it's still, the evidence is the evidence, you know what I mean? And it shows how desperate they are. And I'm sorry, I'm showing how untrained I am. I'm not Jon Stewart. I'm not Bill Maher. I'm just a guy speaking from the heart, trying to do the next right thing.
Well, the woman who removed my son had only worked for CPS for approximately 6 weeks to 2 months, and she was gone within 3 months of him being removed. So she had like no training, literally no training, and she walked into a super complex situation, you know, where I had taken my son to the hospital because he had unmedicated ADHD, and we had a psychotic neighbor who now is at home for Alzheimer's, who had made a false CPS report prior and was targeting my son and stalking him, and saying horrific things to him. And so basically, he told his daycare provider that when mommy went to sleep, he was going to hurt himself really badly until he died. And we had a safety plan with his pediatrician, his occupational therapist, speech therapist, and physical therapist, that if his behaviors ever became to the point where he was being extremely self-injurious or a risk to himself, I was supposed to take him to the hospital. And so I did just that, because had I not, this is the wild part of my situation, I was kind of fucked either way you looked at it, because he'd done a header into my wall from 30 feet away a couple weeks before this all happened. And I asked him, I was like, honey, what are you doing? Like, what happened? And he's like, I was trying to crack my head open so I would die. And so God forbid I had gone to sleep that night and I didn't actually take him to the hospital, I would have gotten arrested for child neglect, for failing to act and failing to get him help. So say he'd hurt himself in some fashion and had to, go to the ER for a stitch or something like that. A, I wouldn't have been okay with the fact that my baby hurt himself, because he's only 5 at the time. But B, I would have been in jail. So it's like either choice. You make the responsible choice, that's the established safety plan and had been the established safety plan for 5 months prior to this, or you risk it and you go to jail for failing to protect your child. So it was kind of an impossible situation, but honestly, I don't regret my decision as much as I would, normally say, yeah, going to the hospital is the worst thing I ever did. But I wouldn't be able to live with myself if he'd hurt himself or God forbid die.
I have to interject here. The whole purpose of the Warrior Project from the beginning was to solve this thing of oh my God, what if I knew in year 1 or year 2 what I'd finally learned over 14 years. And I'm telling you, I'm a research guy and I'm no idiot. Okay. And I was finding light bulb, global mind shift changing discoveries in year 11 and year 12. All right. And with, what kind of focus you're going to have. They take your kids, like, I mean, if you've ever risen to the occasion and put your skills to work, right? Like, I was finding a way to get this done. And we're so ingrained, okay, through conditioning that, Law and Order and CSI, all right? This is how we are all hairless monkeys, okay? We learn by conditioning, all right? That means the more we see something, the more we believe it's true. And every single show that we've ever seen that always ends with the law still stands, right? That is propaganda, all right? That keeps this machine working. Now, the other thing that Kate is showing us here, all right, like as make as education, is she's not yet at the freedom point, okay, which I don't know if it comes until you get your kid back. I don't remember if it came before or after. I just know the monumental shift in me from going from being alienated to finally getting my kids back, and also from being under attack to finally figuring out how to be safe. And that's when, on the 6th attempt of a fake arrest of Christmas 2023, when I had 10 of my nieces over, my ex's attorney, Daniel Notez, which I'm waiting for you, baby. I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting till max when everyone on the planet knows me and I have the most amount of power. And oh my God, we're going to have our day. Right now, you can't sue Daniel Notes because you cannot find a single attorney that will take that case. They'll take your money and say that they do and say that they will. Like I had, who was that disgusting, gluttonous Brickman? I think his name. I fired like 11 attorneys. This is not just in the family court. David Robbins, I found out, was actually working and serving my counterparty, my former firm, okay, RBC, which is a great firm. I never had a problem with them. It was only with my manager, who is an official jerk off. And at the end of this fight, he served me up, and he convinced me that giving up my case, he came to me and he said, Dave, the head arbitrator came to me because this guy wrote the book on arbitration. Once again, David Robbins, the attorney, because I have unbreakable evidence and proof of your guilt, sir. All right. You sold me and said the head arbitrator came up and talked to me and said, Dave, if you give up your side of the case against RBC, he's gonna allow this without prejudice or with prejudice. I always forget the two or whatever. Whichever one allows you to continue to take it up in state court. I didn't know what any of it meant. This was way early on. Okay. This is my first real experience with lawyers in this world or whatever. Right. And what you grow up in a world where I'm in a very regulated world. You trust your attorney. You trust your attorney. I said, David, I'm having a hard time figuring out how this is a win. And honestly, it was my fault for not putting two and two together to say, but wait, if we give up our side, I didn't realize as soon as we gave up our side of the case, the arbitrator said, okay, you lost. You owe RBC 1.1 million, and you owe their attorney fees, which was 300,000. And by the way, that 1.4 million dollars is due in 30 days. If not, your license is permanently marked. So who was David Robbins working for with that result? Knowing full well I didn't have the $1.4 million to be able to pay that off. All right. I was forced out of the firm because my ex's attorney, Daniel Notes, was calling my boss and feeding him lies that made him all decide, he didn't like me to begin with, and like just peppering up my HR record. Like one of them was I got called in and written up for HR because I called somebody Bud. That was disrespectful. I called Bud. He would say, "What's up, Bud?" That was like a 5-alarm, like, Dave, we've got an HR problem here. I think they fined me $250. I'm like, hi, am I on Earth right now? Like, I've got shit to do. Like, what's going on here, right? I didn't know. I know what's going on. Trying to get back to the point here is when you get to the point of realizing none of the details matter, right? You still feel compelled to defend yourself. I can always tell where somebody is in the cycle, right? But the point is that when you finally peel enough layers of the onion to realize, like, oh, this is just organized crime. Like, it's just like it's like picture like you ever see the movie Escape from New York with Snake Plissken?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Picture you and your lawyer walking into court in the middle of that movie. How legitimate is court going to be that day?
Not so much.
Not so much. So you don't underestimate the strength of this system is in how much it seems and pretends to be a court. Everything that they do, everything is about the money, about abusing you to keep you quiet. All the ways to keep you quiet. Right? And keep you quiet forever. That's every twist and turn in the sun. The thing was, how early in your process did you bring up to your own attorney? Because Richard Getty is now the crown jewel of example of the most dangerous person in court is your own attorney.
Absolutely.
The one you look at in the eyes and say, "Save my baby." And he looks
I've had
back
to screw me over.
and he looks back at you and takes your money and says, "I will." And he's working for the other side. And why Richard Getty and half of Kentucky's so scared of me is because they know I know. And they know I have the credentials to be able to, and the ability to explain it to everybody and lay out the facts. Right. One of the things that we've built, okay, that is now coming into Warrior Project is the ability to now send in about a week. Everyone is going to be able to just email in all of your court documents from day one. Every official court document. That's all you need. We don't need emails and side conversations and text. There could be some really relevant shit in there. All right. They're so fucking guilty. We don't need it. We don't need it. All right. Their whole system and why they want me dead is, and it doesn't matter because it's already built and it's already coming. Even if you kill me right now, it's already built. Done. You people are going to be behind bars. You're going to have to move to Mars. The beautiful thing about our solution of exposing you globally is there's nowhere you can go. There's nowhere you can go to hide from your track record, and good for effing you. Because what our system is now about is, which can change the world, is, hey, you know what? Good people who have a good track record are going to get recognized for it, right? All right, the old small town thing, right? Why was the small town mechanic an honest guy? Because if he screwed over one person, everybody would tell everybody. But now as our world has gotten huge, it's super easy to just screw over this one, that one, and everyone just run around being the disgusting greedy capitalists. Like I realize I'm a very sane individual, but I'm also insane because I've literally given up $10 million to do this project. All right. Because I want people to know the shock factor, right? Of like, why is this guy even here? He can look, because the unfortunate thing is who they target specifically is people that can't cause problems for them. All right. So that's why all the poor people, and I know everyone hates me because I called Justin trailer park trash, but let me tell you something. Trailer park trash is a mindset. It is not. I have family that lives in a trailer park. Okay. I grew up, I'm the son of a teacher. Okay. I'm not, some spoon, like golden, whatever the freaking thing is. All right. I have listen, we welcome everybody here. All right. But that mentality is what disgusts me and what we're going to continue to expose. All right. We're going to continue to add to the trolls and problem people. All right. There to change the world, And you know what? There's going to be remedies. If you're on these things, the wall of shame, and you want to get off, do something to change something. Own it. We'll take you off. We'll put you on the wall of fame. This is about behavioral change. Sorry to keep talking with Kate. So many people have put in 3 to 5 minute videos. Why was yours so gut wrenching? It was gut. I don't know anyone who didn't watch it. You didn't cry watching that. You gotta, I don't know, check if you're alive. I actually need a minute, and Cindy wanted to talk to you for a little bit, so I just need a minute.
Okay.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay, thanks. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. I missed my shirt like that. Dave's daughter took it.
Oh,
So I've kind
the
of
hot
ordered new.
commodity.
I'm waiting for the I hate Dave Weigel shirts to come out so I can do like a 2-in-1 order. But if you can't tell, like, I have been crying all day. Your story very much reminds me a lot of mine. You know, going to therapy weekly, however often, and like doing all that work, like a lot of that work is done at home.
Oh, yeah.
You see the progress, and it sounds like, from what I gather, like you're seeing the regression or digression right away, while I haven't been able to see, so I don't know. So it hits me even harder, but like there's so many similarities. So I just want to ask you, like, how are you doing? Like, how are you really doing?
I cry every single day. I miss my son so much it hurts to breathe most of the time. I can't even walk in his bedroom. Um, I feel like I sleep a lot now because it just is too emotionally overwhelming. Um, I haven't had any humans actually like hang out with me really. So this entire time I've been alone in my house, and everywhere I look, I see my son and think of times, like my living room right here. I used to set up obstacle courses for him, and we've done in-home occupational therapy, and I built like a sensory gym in this whole room for him that I've since taken down.
Your house looked gorgeous, and I had just built a home for my girls as well, so I get it.
Thank you. And it's hard because it's like for him to be calling other people mom and dad. I spent so much money taking him to speech therapy just to be able to hear him call me mom finally when he was 5 years old. And then it's like they're acting like I was over exaggerating the extent of the therapies that he needed. Like I knew they were going to try to say I had Munchausen's or some nonsense. But I knew that it's because I started early intervention when he was 2 years old and was taking him to private therapy. Like he went to a different therapy every once a week, and he had 3 different therapists. So we went to the same facility 3 times a week for years, and did early intervention on top of that. And he was getting services at school. So I knew by the time he was around 6, 7 years old, everything would start to finally fall into place. And
Which
so
is the goal. Like right when they start school, for them to feel normal with other kids their age and be like excited about education and school and making these friends.
Exactly.
And it's so much hard work. And I feel like at the age our kids got taken, it's like the age when you first start to really see their personalities come out and they become themselves. For me, it's twins. So that's why I say, yeah.
No, your girls.
Honey, I don't want you to hurt yourself anymore. Can I just interject for a second?
Yeah, I just wanted to take a minute and let you know, like, you're not alone. And I am sending you so much love, and so is everyone in the project. And we're all here for you. Just reach out if you need any of us at any time, okay?
Thank you. Same for you, too. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Let's get back on here. I'm not a fan of
You're
this.
great. You're wonderful. Thank you, Cindy.
I'm the one freaking forking out all the goddamn money this month for this thing. Don't try and take it over just because you're my girlfriend. I'm like,
fiance. She's your fiance.
Thank you.
Oh God,
Thank you. I have to remind him often.
I'm gonna pay. No, the reason why I was rushing back is I wanted. It's late here, and I wanted to get this connection out. And yes, I was watching your video before getting on the podcast, as I always do before everyone, and I had to look over. And I've been with Cindy now for 6 months here, and she has taken a very alternative route that her family doesn't understand. The other side is abusing, and it's just another one of these super counterintuitive truths. what looks to be so knee jerk one way is something else, right? All right. You and I, okay, did what we were supposed to do. We did the supervised visitation. We took the abuse. We allowed them to like make them show our children that we're criminals to justify them. It's like we're taking apart what we're going to be doing here and why every dirty attorney and lawyer and judge in the family court is so fucked. Is that what has been making them be able to exist in this world is all of these things being one-on-one.
And in secrecy.
One-on-one, they've been able to do the same things to you as every other person. And when we have the sum of all human knowledge, calculate that, wait a second, 84% of the time, that's just inaccurate, it's we're talking about the supervision, right? And this is for everybody that's forced into the supervision, right? What I did successfully is dealt with it, and very quickly in my case, the very first judge that I had found out my ex was lying right off the bat. And so there are good people in the system. And the very first AFC went over and saw the kids. My ex came in there and said, my husband, her attorney told her exactly what to write. That I punched her in front of the kids. Okay. We've discussed this. It's been on permanent public record. The facts are that, and she also said that the kids were scared because it was in front of them and the kids were scared. This was on a Thursday. The AFC went over at 10:30 in the morning the next day. Saw the kids bubbling, jumping up, and laughing every time my name was mentioned.
All they have to do is see the videos of you with your kids, and they see what kind of father you are.
She walked with a cane, right? And she's a government worker, right? It's 3 p.m. on a Friday. She hauled it back to court. She was so pissed to remove all of the requests. And immediately, the only thing they talked about in court was who was going to be the supervisor. She went back in there and said, no, give this guy unsupervised visitation starting in 2 days. It was a Sunday. So I started my case off that way, right? And then they realized, oh, shit, what kind of money I make and my ex used to make, right? And they're like, uh-oh, they fit the profile. They fit the profile. We've got a wacko, kind of type of parent to be an abuser, right? And in my ex's case, she admitted online that she was addicted to the power, right? There's some disgusting concept out there about being a successfully divorced person. I think it's just a disgusting kind of concept. You successfully divorced something. Yeah, you're disgusting. But she was power hungry, right? She was power hungry. They sensed it and they said, oh, this is someone that will ring the register, right? You give that person a drug, all right? And this is what I'm talking about with you. All right, what I did successfully in my case, and I backed off because I learned something along the way, is that still it's your kid's, father. Still it's your kid's mother. Even if they're really horrific people, right? I would like to spend 90% of the attention, because it's deserved in most cases, on the system. Because without the system, these people would not act this way. Maybe they would, but the structure is so there, right? They tell women outright, all right? Oh, you don't want to say this? I guess you want your kid stolen. And they did that to Georgie. They said, Dave's a smart guy. He's going to take your kids. He's going to take your kids. You better sign this lie. And she did 5 times, to get me arrested, to make me look like a criminal, which I beat all 5 times because I'm not a criminal. But the supervised visitation, I think this is really important to talk about. And that is, one thing I did successfully is I was working with Charlie McCready. Thank God, just a genius with parental alienation, consultant out of England. Has been doing it forever. Weird guy, genius. He's still one of my brain trust consultants. Okay, I've kept him on just to advise me just how my brain is working. It's taught me so much. He helped me just make whether I had 3 hours a week or 3 hours a month or 3 hours in 6 months. I made it the most love-filled love fest, nothing about like your mother's a bitch and any of that stuff. He kept me straight and narrow on that. Um, and it mattered. And the hope I want to give you is that that's what you've done, right? And it was enough. When I got to, and we're talking about, this is really important to discuss the connection between yours and Cindy's case, is the two opposite sides of the coin, is that there's a certain amount of time period where you can do that for, right? You can do supervised visitations. Maybe it's a year, maybe it's 2 years before it starts harming.
It already is harming. That's
Right.
the problem, is that
Right.
I see my son in a state of hypervigilance. I love my son more than anything in this world, and spending time with him is something I look forward to. However, because they're so punitive and keep making up rules as they go, and they bark things at me, and like both my son and I are kind of just like startled when it happens, it's now detrimental to him. And DCFS tries to say after visits, he just kind of takes a deep sigh, and they're acting like that's because of me. And I'm like, no, it's because he's no longer under freaking microscope.
DFS, we're going to have a lot of people going to prison. Okay. We're going to have a lot of people going to prison. Okay. I'm going to tell you why and how. Because the infrastructure you were operating underneath before we created this alternative system is no more, right? Is no more. So you have a model, which is when Kate says, this is fraud. This is lies, right? Then you hit her, right? You hit her, you retaliate, and you teach that human that that you better not do that. Okay. And then some people take this stage like, okay, well, maybe if I'm just good and do what they say for a while. I think we all hit that stage.
I did it.
Let me just be good and do what they say. There'll be some benefit from that. But you're dealing with a bully here. You're dealing with, okay, a bully doesn't understand kindness is weakness to a bully, right? It's like understanding the narcissist mind and then understanding the bully mind, right? To get ahead of them, right? Which is what we try to educate people about, right? And I keep, when people come to me and they say, no, Dave, I don't want to go public because, I'm just going to do what they say. And I'm like, listen, follow the logic. Okay. You're already in this system, right? They know they're robbing you. Why are they ever going to let anyone out the side door with enough money and resources and energy to come back and hurt them later? Why? They don't. Why do you think they go to the extent, the cruelty, the level of cruelty that you've seen, which is going to now fuck them big time? Because it's going to define the torture. All right. The torture you're going through, the torture Cindy is going through. Okay. Cindy made a brilliant move, one that I didn't understand initially. But as a mother, I guess you understand your kids and you understand your kids' needs in a way that is what a mother possesses. Okay. And she has made the correct decision to limit the amount of inputs to their decline and abuse, making them see Cindy over Zoom, all right, once a week, reminding them of mom and then taking her away. You don't think that hurts the child, right? And every PhD and therapist and family therapist in this country knows this. And I'm telling you right now, you're on borrowed time too. Okay. Because the future is only going one way. It's going to be who is on the right side of history and when did you come on the right side of history. I realize you don't want everyone's concerned about retaliation. All right. I work with phenomenal doctors and I've asked them for help and I've asked them to be part of this. And they see what I do and they've got too many people relying on them. The retaliation is real, it is absolutely real. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. They've helped in other ways. But Cindy, I mean, what's kept us together is we've fallen in love. Even though I only want to throw her off the balcony every other day. Oh my God! Do you see how violent he is? That Dave Weigel. He talked about throwing his girlfriend off the balcony.
Fiance.
Did you?
Thank you.
Three times.
Fiance.
Fiance, I'm not French. Okay, I don't use French words all day long. All right, I don't walk into McDonald's and say I'll have a ham and cheese croissant.
Are you a croissant guy?
I'm a bagel guy, dude. New York bagel. God, I miss it. Although the phenomenal food, obviously in Europe. But back to like what I want to make, the point I want to make and help people is that these are the dynamics that unfortunately you guys have to get. The first thing you have to get is everything you're being shown, all right, was premeditated for a reason.
100%.
And is a lie.
Yep.
All right. The next thing is it is meant to mentally abuse you, same way as physical abuse. Okay. In Cindy's case, it was 140 motions of saying how bad your mother is. A woman that took her kids to 814 doctor's visits and willed them. Okay. And what we're demanding, okay, in the very next session is a reassessment of those girls to see the actual regress. All right. They were born developmentally delayed because of Cindy's work. They were brought up. We're taking it out of your judicial discretion, you disgusting, disgusting human being, Tiffany Yar, and bringing hard math and science. While the children with Cindy, they went, and they're going back to the same doctors, same 28 doctors, same 5 medical facilities, same 4 therapists. Why? Because the world is going to demand it. We've taken the power out of your hands, dumbass. And when they show the regress over the last 7 months, the world's going to demand you behind bars. And when we break one, we break it for everybody. Because as soon as one is guilty, they're all guilty. And it's because of people like Cindy and people like Kate. And honestly, I'm going to also make a call out, okay? Corey, okay, we're going to have on Wednesday, Frank Lococo. Only a few other guys have stepped up. I'm very disappointed and putting a call out there, okay? Other than to the people that want to be TikTok stars that have 4 teeth, okay? If there's any men out there
that is great too,
would like to step up, all right, and join forces here, okay? There was a big time period where I was saying, okay, lobbying, legislators was a waste of time. Okay, now it's not. All right, now all these other groups that have been held, especially the ones that are getting into really lobbying and getting into government, because those politicians, once they see the power shift happening, they're going to be like lemmings. Okay, they're going to jump. We're a big voter community here now, and getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's all those whores care about. Is getting voted in, right? They know what's going on, right? They're waiting for who's going to be the first one to jump in a pool. Warrior Project jumped in a pool because of all of you people. All right. We did the hard part of jumping in the pool. What you did, Kate. All right. What you're doing right now. All right. And let me also sit there and say, please try to retaliate against Kate Malone. All right. She's a campaign case. I so want to just see the egotist moron that just can't think past their nose and be so concerned with justifying and covering up their past behaviors with you in your case, convince themselves that nothing's changed, that this is just a crazy guy and it's a small group and who cares what they say on like some stupid little Facebook group thing. No, largest community watchdog organization on the planet. Okay, most respected. The only one that has shown signs in actually having success against the 40-year epidemic. That is what we've created is genius. It will be recorded in history as such. It's just a matter of whether the United States is at a 250-year anniversary. This is the point in history where every empire fails. Why? Because we all get too fat and lazy and things have been too good for too long. We distract ourselves. I don't know. Read a history book, any history book. It all happens, okay, for the same fundamental reasons. All right. I'm over here talking to people in Europe because their grandparents remember what their stories were about Stalin or Hitler or Mussolini or my mother only having water once a week that they had to fill up in the bathtubs, right? Just to have water for the week, right? Yet we haven't had that, right? If we have to wait too long at Burger King, we all turn into Karens, okay? The rest of the world, they will tell you their attitude of Americans is we're all stupid. You should see my smart ass comment to that. All right. Cause I'm still American through and through. When it comes to, being connected to the things that they need to be connected, we are stupid. We are, we're doing stupid things. We're allowing, bad behavior to exist. We're not stepping up, we're not doing the right thing. Not enough people are doing the right things, and it's going to matter. Okay. And I'm telling you here right now, mark my words right here, right now. If we win this, we have our country back. If we lose this battle, this family court battle right here, not just the Warrior Project, everybody involved in it. Okay. If we lose it, we are losing our country. All right. That means we've lost the First Amendment. We've lost the Constitution. Right. Why do you think America is so dominant in the world? All right. We have better soil over here that just happens to grow better corn or something. No, people are freaking people everywhere. All right. The fundamentals were such that the Constitution is one of the pieces of genius that they predicted 250 years ago exactly what I am facing right now. I mean, this is mind-blowing. People in the financial markets, we can't predict 3 months in advance. These guys predicted 250 years in advance. That's how much they knew human nature. That's what they knew.
But the Constitution isn't even being upheld anymore.
Because the rule of law, right? Once you eliminate law enforcement, right? Law enforcement has been co-opted, right? That cop that we showed is the example of, oh shit, I can't do anything about it. So I'm going to take the completely different asshole approach and make myself feel better about reiterating what the law happens to be. How about you freaking remember what like common decency and God's law is? All right. A mother has no right. Okay. Even if that is a law, you have to tell her that at that moment in time. This is what you accept. No one has the ability to take away motherhood or fatherhood, period. And if this isn't the canary in the coal mine that's telling you this, I mean, I'm here to set up the next Nuremberg trials, all right? That's what I am here for. This is systematic human torture.
Absolutely.
Right? Does not take a rocket scientist to figure out. They wrote it out in the convention. This is what physical torture is. This is what human torture is. And thank you, Cyrus from IAJ, who's done phenomenal work with his amicuses. He is stepping up to be the entity that Congress should have enacted in 1985. He is performing all of those acts himself and has phenomenal information. We are all human rights defenders, and it is against international law. Everybody needs to know this. It is against firm international law to retaliate against human rights defenders. So when you retaliate against Kate and Dave Weigel again, you're dumb because you think, the FBI ain't coming. We're good. Yeah, dude. Day late and a dollar short in your thinking. All right. America's 5% of the world's population. All right. 5% of the world's population. And the internet has given us the ability to collect good people. As soon as we can figure out how to shut down the narcissists and the morons and the idiots and the vultures and the crazies and get them out of this world, the World Project, another major initiative that we're going towards here, people, all right, is we need everybody to go through the process here now, because we need to now make we have another group, the Verified Victims Group. All right. Once you do your 3 to 5 minute video, maybe you do your reveal your torture video. All right. You answer the 150 polling questions. I know they're annoying. We are fixing that. Okay. It's going to be a survey monkey. We need these. I thought a lot about these. Okay. These 150 questions spells out the national fraud. We've already proven the Bar Association is the facilitator. All right. How does these atrocities occur? All right. Is you have no police force. You have a judge that says, no matter what I do, I can never get in trouble. I have a social worker that says, no one's ever gotten in trouble for this. I've heard story after story after story. You play on the psychology. You give an underachiever godlike powers. Even these judges, right? Do you think it's an accident that so many of them are childless women judges over the age of child rearing? I'm sorry, all sciences have reverted back to evolutionary, right? The nature of the torture is that for 300,000 years, your brain as a mammal, there's nothing more ingrained than protecting your child. So that when your child has been removed from you, your brain is going through such mental torture, such distress for survival. You need to go get your child, okay? You need to protect your child. Watch National Geographics and see what any mother mammal does to protect their child. It's not that more difficult right here. But then to do it the way they're doing it here, right? For so long, and then to blame you. And then to have so many things blame you. Have a system where, unfortunately, your family doesn't have your back. It's too heavy for them. They're too understand. Like they just, it's really, Kate. There's a national racketeering scheme that nobody knows about. I saw you get this, and this. You know, if you're accused of this, and this, you must be guilty of it. Okay.
Well, also, my father was a very well-respected attorney and a judge as well. So my parents are divorced. My father has since passed away. But, in my mom's eyes, she's thinking there's going to be actual law and order, and that the system is just. But my dad did something completely separate. He did, stuff with trusts, defending the integrity of trusts.
Yeah. And those are real guys. I work with those guys all the time. And again, a family court for a warrior, I want to make very, 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 very clear. Okay. Number one, to be honest with you, I hate all attorneys. Okay. I make my living telling the truth. You make your living lying. Okay. I just don't respect it. Okay. Are there attorneys that I respect out there? Yes. But still, the heart and soul of what you do is misrepresentation. right? So I just feel from a societal point of view, I'm not Jesus over here. It's just a shitty. It's a shitty industry, right? I'm not going to be upset when AI replaces you, and I don't mean to insult, your father. There were judges and there were lawyers, okay, that were real Americans at one point, right? I've quoted the opening line of the Nuremberg trial, a very famous, statement. I just said, all we need to do right now is change one word. Society can never afford its return to its continuation. It's happening. We have a system right now that is destroying the American family, that has been exported to the rest of the world. It's a little different in Europe for our European watchers here. It's more about parental alienation than it is your bar association. I have not investigated as a complete organized crime. The bar association is 100% an organized crime. There's nothing legitimate about the U.S. Bar Association. I don't believe that's the case. Oh baby, I need my charger. And I think it's in the bag over there. It's more parental alienation over here. It's more the parent side and jurisdiction jumping, right? If you're in like Spain, it's easy to be like, boom, I'm in England, now I'm in Denmark, now I'm over here, and you've got things going on. So and they're slower with everything, so it's procedural, but it is happening, okay, in many, many other places, all right? And we welcome, and why this is a global project is that, again, cutting the head off of the demon right now, all right, is essential for the entire world. Okay. I will tell you no, baby. No, the back one, the one that looks like a computer, one that has a box to it. Yeah, that one. Thank you. We're all professional here, just like Joe Rogan's show, as I'm like sitting here, like, yelling at my fiance.
Very good.
There. For tell her what a computer wire looks like. But the thing is, this is global, okay, and it is going to only get more and more perverted. It's going to spill over to other areas. It's already in the conservatorships area. I have personal experience there. Probate court is there. I think you both also, Cindy and you, also have the special incentive of a special needs child, right?
Yep.
I've been trying to dissect the numbers of how much money do they get by placing a special needs child into the system, taking a special needs child from a mother. What's the dollar amount? I've been trying to get to it. I know it's over $500,000 a year.
I know in the state of California,
Where's
I had a friend who did foster care. In the state of California, like 8 years ago, the federal government gave the state $10,000 a month for every child that was in foster care. And then, like in the case with my son, I already knew he had autism and ADHD, but they retested him with an independent doctor, so because that way they can get bonuses. So
yeah, but you're not even talking about all the other stuff that's happening that you don't even see, right? Other agencies that now have to regulate those agencies that regulate the other agency. It's every single healthcare specialist has their own hand in it, right?
Right.
And I'm telling you right now, if you're one of these specialist doctors that's connected to these family courts, you're next. We will get your tax returns. And here's how I'm going to expose you is I'm going to get all the average W-2 income of a specialist, a therapist, or whatever doctor you are that is outside the family court, and show what the average income earnings is in the country there, and then show the family courts. Bing, done, over. You're corrupt. Your MD is going to get pulled. And yeah, just like me, my CFP letters were pulled for reasons of not respecting professionals the way that I speak about scum that are in the business of, designer child trafficking. And I expect to get the letters back. I expect this, bow tie wearing fraud who is serving the Bar Association. Angel Friedman is a fraud. He used his position to act on behalf of the Bar Association to find any reason to take my letters and also put up language on their website that we're going to destroy. All right. And I don't mean to get off your case, but I'm just saying, him just saying a complaint came in. He chose to leave off that this was not a client complaint. This was a complaint from a career criminal with like 54 counts on his license. Jason and Erin Sammarantano called the CFP board. I reported it to them, right? And said, yeah, not sure they're really a credible source. If 25 times you've been found guilty of robbing other individuals, how many times have you really done it? And the reason why I want everyone to understand, the old system produced Jason and Erin Sammarantano. How are these people still out there harming people and harassing people and actually harming this organization if the old system worked? So what we're trying to do here is be large enough to set the record straight. So on that note, right, who else is involved in your case that is committing felonies and involved in the hijacking of your children?
You mean like which officials?
Yeah. Who's responsible for the hijacking of your child?
The initial removal caseworker was Caitlin Loera, Loera. She's the one who was gone within a few months of the case opening. We're on our fourth caseworker now. So the second one was Brittany Best, who lied or perjured herself on the stand and said my son was better off without me. She was ordered off my case due to the assault and due to the judge saying that he wanted to actually give me a chance towards reunification.
She assaulted you?
Yeah, she grabbed me by both sides of my arms when I was buckling my son into her car, which was the standard protocol. And he said, "Stop being such a jerk to my mommy." And then before I knew it, my hair was down, so it was kind of covering my face. Before I knew it, she had hands on both sides of my arms and physically pulled me off of my child, and I just spun around, and that's all on audio. And then I pulled out my camera and I videoed her, and I said, "Why did you just grab me? You had no right to touch me. Like, that was not okay, blah, blah, blah." And she goes, "Because you had plenty of time to say goodbye." And then she knocks the phone out of my hands, and I have it all on video that I can provide to you guys. But
No.
they tried
Yes,
to make me be alone with her.
you need to do this because our enemy, we have to be in the heads of our enemy. All right. I want to remind everybody the plan and the project here is everyone's going to have a centerpiece to their digital file. What we're doing here is replacing the town hall where your court files are supposed to be public and sit in a basement somewhere, maybe. All right. But in family court, it's worse because they get away with the excuse of, oh, there's kids involved. So there can be no transparency whatsoever.
Yeah, they say it's all sealed.
Like redacting software hasn't been out for 40 years, right? Everything about this system spells out fraud.
It gets even better. Then the third caseworker was Emily Conover. She was the caseworker from sometime in January until roughly March 8th. And so we had a month where we had no caseworker. So there was a woman by the name of Jessica Karstens, who was a supervisor, and she is corrupt as they get. She was condoning Brittany's behavior and the assault and all that. So
I want to make sure that the public record gets, because we will be adding these people's pictures. All right, we will be vetting Kate's claims.
Mm-hmm.
When we validate them to be true, we will be adding to this in the comments section. All right, is where you add the evidence of what you're talking about. All right, and we also add to the behavioral change machine. All right, has there been anybody worthy of the Hall of Fame? Has anyone
Absolutely not.
tried to stick up for you?
Not at all.
In any way, shape, or form?
No. So there is also what I was going to say though is
Until
Emily Conover.
Until
you guys, yes. But Emily Conover was in court, and there was a new supervisor who came in, who was like the head supervisor. Her name is Mia Kuzens, Kuzens, and I kid you not, in court, Emily couldn't even look me in the eye because she'd always told me, "I see the bond that you and your son have. I know that he belongs at home with you." And she was basically told by her supervisor, Mia, to get on the stand and say that it was in my son's best interest to terminate my rights. And she was looking down the whole time did it. But the judge actually admonished the supervisor, Mia, because she was nodding her head.
I'm sorry. Just, I'm sorry. You got to go back. Terminate your rights to your children.
Yep. Because they get money.
One child?
Yeah, I have one son who's 7.5.
What's his name?
Hunter.
Hunter? You're going to see this one day. All right. And the difference is, and I've explained this to people, with coercion, all right, coercive control, that is forcing information down a child's throat. That's what's done by the abuser.
They say horrible things about me to him.
You can't say that shit here, okay? Because Hunter will come looking for this when Hunter decides he wants this information. All right. Or someone's going to cherry pick some stuff and shove it in his face and try and make mommy look bad. But that will backfire because he'll find the full piece of all of this. And I want to just let everybody know out there in your video still breaks me up. You said something wrong. That your son's going to be permanently damaged and you're going to be permanently damaged. No, you're not. You're not. I saved my kids and you're going to be able to too. Okay. It is happening. All right. You've already done it. What we've created here, it's timestamped and dated. It's going to be there forever. You, I know, are going to follow through, not like the numbnuts that have come in here and done like one thing and then taken off and wondered why. All right. No, you're creating a record as you're coming in here and helping another and helping your head at the same time. Your son is going to see a record of, wait a second. I was told my mom was this and this and this and this doesn't check out. I remember where I was in July of 26. That doesn't look like the person that in my case, I was robbed of all these father-daughter from father-son moments. So I felt compelled to just put one out. Like, hey, here's how you deal with the mean girl syndrome, right? It somehow got on the feed of a friend of hers that had moved to, Boston or whatever that she hadn't really talked about, right? Somehow connected to her. And I honestly thought at that point, I was really convinced it was like my kids are not, maybe at 25, and I was just trying to see how I was going to stay alive till they got to 25. Because every single day you living without your child is like your child was abducted that day or died that day. It is that level of pain. And that is why every single one of the people that are going through this and still alive and still breathing are true heroes. It's not cringeworthy. I'm not just kissing butt so that I can have a big fan group. No, you don't know what you're talking about. This is the hardest thing anyone can go through. Right?
There's actually a study that says parents who actually lose their children to murder or death fare better than parents whose children are in the system.
There's also scientific study from the Amen Foundation that shows that the actual brain images of people that suffer the family court are identical to physical rape. So putting that again, now how they get away with this, right? So the family court. Let's just really dissect this, guys.
It's a
Let's
judge.
really- let's peel back the onion. Let's really think through this here. How do they do this? How do they get away with this? Right? You've got a bunch of untrained people making diagnoses, right? It's like, oh no, but it's an officer of the court, so naturally, right? They're going to know psychology. It's like, oh, well, Dave's a great hedge fund money manager. So, Kate, I'm going to do your oral surgery tomorrow. I'm going to pull some teeth tomorrow. You feel comfortable with that?
Yeah,
Look, I'm a successful guy.
Not with a scalpel.
What? Why wouldn't you trust me just pulling your teeth tomorrow? It's why. Because when there's no regulator, nobody can get their head around this.
But the judge should be the regulator because he has the ultimate power to say this is absolutely ridiculous. There isn't enough evidence, and this child belongs at home. But he keeps dangling these little carrots in front of me.
And here's how they set up the
return
judge.
him because the longer he's in the system, the more money they make.
And here is how, and I study business models, and everything about my hedge fund is I study complex organizations and systems and pull it apart and restructure them and figure out who's lying and how are they really getting paid, right? Two main factors right there, right? So if you look at this situation, it's identical. Just repeat exactly what you just said.
That the judge keeps dangling these carrots, acting like I'm going to get my child back, but then things get pushed back more and more because the longer he's in the system, the more money he makes.
Right. Yeah.
The more money they all make.
Right. But it goes further, right? Think about it, right? I love psychology. I love the behavioral sciences. It really drives everything, right? Mm-hmm. So you're handing this robe, this black robe, to this person, and you're calling them Your Honor. And when they walk in the room, everyone's got to stand up like they're a fucking king or something, right? And then they try to pay them a government salary of $135 in Manhattan. $135,000, you can't live in Manhattan, all right? So now you've got this equilibrium, right? You've got this person with this humongous power, but living like a pauper in their town, living like a pauper, right? They're going to figure out a way not to live like a pauper, right? And how did all the doctors become drug dealers? Because the HMOs took over and said, oh, if you want to be an honest doctor, you don't drive a Mercedes anymore. You drive a Honda. You don't live in Soho. You live in Cliffside Park, New Jersey, right? And if you're going to sit there and be, no, I'm going to be an honest doctor. I'm only going to give out medications that are necessary. I'm going to be an honest person. I'm a weird person. People are going to call this bullshit, but it's on my record. All right. My income from 2000 to 2022 went down 75%. I had a business card that said senior vice president, and I was this close to having to move home with my mother in my bedroom that I grew up in, where she still had my racquetball trophies up from like when I was 7. I mean, talk about a monumental. But the reason why I went down 75% is I refused to rob people. If the right thing to do was do nothing, and I thought it was to do nothing, I was not going to move their money to make a commission and lie to them. Or I just was not going to lie to them. And I suffered greatly, but I said in the beginning, you know what? So many people around here you can't trust. Like, what if you're just like a great friend? What if you're really trustworthy? What if people can just be like, oh, no. Dave's got this. Okay. I trust this guy wholeheartedly. No. I don't need to worry about it. What if that's your brand? Right. So I followed that. Okay. It was a part of me and who I was, but I was also willing to suffer, my income level going down that much and almost living with the embarrassment of whatever, I made the decision to claim bankruptcy. to Mother F back the pieces of garbage that held it over my shoulder and used it as their leverage. You're going to be a money manager and you're going to have a bankruptcy, an embarrassing bankruptcy. So I said, you don't know me, mother effer. I was like, I've been an honest resource for my clients for 26 years or however long it was. My average client is with me 16 years. My average client. All right. So I said, no. I'm going to show you what being trustworthy is really worth in this world. All right. And then, and I thought because of that also track record that it would be harder to discredit me in the end when they're really analyzing. And right now I'm repeating all this stuff. I have to say I'm dominating a lot of the conversation because the international courts are looking at this right now. Okay. This is being brought to them right now. Like world leaders are looking at this right now. This is the first time it's ever been uttered that a lawsuit against the United States of America for crimes against humanity, for crimes, for violation of torture, that's valid. We need to try to also put in here pieces that are vital, factors, vital factors. How many days has it been since you've been with your child?
545.
545. I want everybody listening to this to just think about that for a second. Not only the 545 days, what it equates to in...
It'll be 18 months on Wednesday. In 2 days, it'll be 18 months.
Right. But what in life would you count to the day? I spent 86 and a half hours in Rikers Island because it was hell on earth. You only know the day count because of the level of torture that you're being put through. All right, this is torture. We've proven it. You've proven it. Okay, we've got a mechanism here. What we need is we need people to step up, not be afraid of being identified because you are the court of public opinion. If there's anything in Kate's case or that she's discussing with CPS, we need you to put down a Me Too. This happened to me too. This happened to me too. This happened. We're collecting data. All right. No. Okay. News flash to every person out there in this community, deluded with the idea that the thing that's going to save me is just getting my name out. I've got to be a Dave Weigel. I've got to create a group with 24,000. I've got to be the most well-known out. My story needs to get out. Every nook and cranny of my story. No. Okay. We've gone beyond that. The raising awareness has happened. We're now in the what do we do about it phase, right? So if you are still, I'm sorry, jerking yourself off with some other side group of 300 people instead of bringing them here, okay, you are not on the side of the children. You are not on the side of America. You're on the side of yourself, okay? Because a real man and a real human being who cares about these children says, what is our best chance? And we're not even close to anybody else. I don't even know if anybody else has a plan. Okay. Never mind credentials. Never mind a blockchain. Never mind the genius of the combination of these three. Never mind, okay, the reality that if you want to create an entity, it takes money. Okay. Everybody out there in La La Land. All right. You have all this glorious ideas and everything. Sorry to wake you up to reality, but creating an entity costs money. Otherwise, you're an employee. Got it? Okay. Everybody comes to social media to be somebody else, and I'm pissed. I'm pissed that this can happen to you, but I'm more pissed right now at what we've seen as far as the behaviors, as far as now supporting you afterwards, right? I really, really mean this about this altruistic movement. First of all, it works in business. Every single time I have done something generous, it's come back to me fourfold, right? It's fundamentally a sound way of living. All right. But I don't know what's going to break it. I mean, ever since, the social media has been created, everybody is a celebrity, whether you've got 3 people following you or 300,000 or whatever. So to try and organize this army is what I'm trying to do is extremely, extremely difficult, right? When everyone wants to be general and you're dealing with a bunch of this combination of ignorance and arrogance, right? That and a lot of trauma and just trauma. But the underlying thing is I always remind myself is everybody we're dealing with here is a torture victim, right? Try and picture, Kate, I'm sorry, but you are the equivalent of somebody that was in a POW camp, all right? And that we just fished you out of a cage that you lived in Vietnam. Mm-hmm. It's identical. It's identical.
Well, and it never can. I don't even feel like I've been fished out yet because it doesn't stop. Because Cindy was able to she had the freedom at least to be able to make the really hard, selfless decision that she did in the best interest of her girls, as much as that hurt her as a mom. But she was looking out for her kids. For me, I am forced to do visitation supervised, even though I know it's detrimental to my son's well-being and to my well-being. Because if I miss one single visit, I have not missed a visit, a doctor's appointment, or any type of visit. I have gone to every single thing I've been allowed to go to.
And what were you diagnosed with?
PTSD.
Okay. What we're going to add to this case file is my own judge, Tundra Dawson's own words in my case for a case history, where she directly says, "Oh God, you could go to a doctor who could write you up for anything." All right. Yes, PTSD is real. There's not a doctor in the country or the world with their worth anything that would tell you that is grounds to remove a child.
Right.
So PTSD, let's take this apart. All right. First of all, you have complex PTSD.
Right. That actually was the diagnosis I saw a really good neuropsychologist on my own dime, because the parental capacity evaluator was trash and he didn't even finish his evaluation, but still wrote the report for the court. So he left out like 20 years of my life, and he's best friends with the judge. So I paid $7,500.
Every day I hear this, best friends with the judge.
No, the judge admitted it in open court.
Yeah. But the thing is that they have gotten accustomed to this idea that what stays in their court stays in their court, right? They can't get their head around just how much has changed. No, it's all changed now. We're going to now expose and explain everything. And no, this is not harassment. This is not threatening, and this is not stalking. Okay. This is the First Amendment of the United States of America. It is exactly the first 3 lines of the First Amendment of the United States of America. Protesting government for regress. Exactly. And
but what I was saying is that literally, if I were to miss visits or forgo visitation, then I would not be afforded visitation again, and my rights would be immediately terminated. So I'm forced to subject myself and my son to torture twice a week, reminding him that I'm still there. And then it's like having him ripped away from me all over again if I want to play their game to get my son back.
All right. I'm going to give you an alternate strategy, right? And it is also based upon this bigger bully mentality because the people in your case are watching this. All right. And the way you get in their head, all right, and make them piss their pants and do stupid things is you tell them exactly how you're going to beat them. You give away your game plan, right? You're going to submit every single thing in your case is going to be co-published on the Warrior Project. It's going to be dissected. It's going to be analyzed. No one's going to be able to pretend that certain words defy what, the Webster's dictionary word means for it. No one's going to be able to pretend that something wasn't submitted or actually said this or actually said that. And we're going to show your faces and we're going to show your names. Okay. And we're going to just keep reporting. I know what you want to do. You want to say that you're physically threatened. I feel my life's in danger. No. The Warrior Project, our mantra is physical violence does not last long enough. Okay. Like global shaming does it. Global shaming changes generations. All right. It's stupid. It's not smart. Okay. And none of us here are criminals and can bring ourselves to do that. Anyway, if we are the empath that got crushed in this whole thing, by definition, we are not the criminal abuser, all right, that can go and bring themselves to violence. So you have a horrible case to sit there and say, look how angry Dave Weigel is when he speaks, because that is again, I'm going to quote Dr. Tom Horvath, all right, the rational response to this level of abuse is rage. Let me repeat science again for you lawyers out there. The rational response to this level of abuse is rage. So that when you now use the rage as a circular logic to go back and pretend the last thing that happened was the first thing that happened, and that's the reason why it's justifiable to take Kate's child, all right, which I don't even know happened in your case. I just know it's happened in thousands of cases.
It's a cookie cutter approach. I mean, when I saw Jessica Strong,
that's a playbook.
Yeah,
that's a playbook.
When I saw her interview yesterday, I was like, that's exactly what they did to me.
Tell you right now, we are in the midst here right now, and I'm going to combine Cindy's case and your case and my case with regards to the supervised visitation through the eyes of the children, something I want everyone to think about and talk and discuss here. All right. I felt at the 2-year mark, I couldn't do it anymore. The supervised visitation. This was the first time my daughter Marky didn't show up for a visitation with Daddy. And we were so close. And I was being baited. Oh, she didn't go because she had homework or wanted to be with a friend. It was meant to hurt me. Like everything was fed by the attorney. And Daniel notes, you're so fucked because now I'm friends with Georgie and she's given me every one of your emails. You're such a moron. You put all this in email, you moron, and text message. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, these criminals, they're dumb. They're lazy, right? You know what I mean? They take, when we finally start following the money on these judges, it is going to be, and now the Warrior Project is going to turn into a comedy show. It's going to turn into a comedy show. I swear to God, because that's a very, very common dynamic there too. So what I want to discuss is at what point and where does a supervised visitation do more harm than good? All right. For me, at the 2-year mark, I said, you know what? Nothing's worth this. I offered the last asset we had was the apartment I bought in 2015. Full disclosure, bought it for $2,050,000, put $300,000 into it. Okay. Yes, it had a big mortgage on it, but it still had hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity. And I just said, it's been 12 years. That's it. I'm giving you all my money. You get my half, your half, and the mortgage that I paid down for 4 years. But you've got to end the divorce now. I'm not paying the mortgage anymore. She worked for a major bank. I worked for myself and my hedge fund. All right. My strategy was she could get fired for this. I would not. She would make a valid, responsible decision. Her lawyer had such a hold over her. He watched that go because what he said, no, it's over. My paycheck's over. So no matter what, he advised her, don't do it. Don't do it. All right. And she just watched that 700 grand go up in smoke. And, and even my kids' 529 plans that I had $210,000 each in both of them that went directly to the scum in the family court because I was still in that phase that I needed an attorney. And I will, I want to ask more. I want to also recommend, do your education on narcissist abuse. Okay. There's a lot of great stuff. Jill Weiss, W-I-S-E. She's a member of the group. She's done a couple of our calls. She does do some one-on-one counseling, but you could just learn a lot from her, her education. Just knowing the top 10 things narcissists are extremely easy to protect. They're so mentally ill that they're very easily predictable, right? It's always about them, right? They're always a victim. You can get ahead of them easier, right? Charlie McCready, if you're getting your kid back, people like him. He also has stuff with parental alienation, all right? Even with the stage that you're at right now, all right? You're still seeing your child, but it's in a very effed up state and everything.
In a sterile environment too.
Yeah, and he works. But here's the thing: the supervised visitation is number one, a kickback scheme. All right, I've already proven that. They were requiring me to use literally Elliot Spitzer's cousin, who charged 3 times more than the supervisor I found in Connecticut, and my own attorney would not submit it to the court to say switch supervisors because of the kickback scheme. Okay, what other reason would there be? Right. Number 2 is it is a emotional abuse tool to break you down to the point where you can't fight anymore, to turn you crazy, right? How do they make this last? And this is going out to all the people out there. I know a lot of people that haven't seen their kids in 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Somehow they're still breathing. Many of them, I will say, in this community are deranged, right? They've come into the Warrior Project. They couldn't stay because they're too mentally ill, or they were too fixated on whatever they have in their head is how they're going to get their kid back, which hasn't worked for 5 years, and they can't move from it. But again, unfortunately, this is a brilliant attack scheme, right? A business model, but a tax scheme. It really is brilliant, right? Even society looking down your nose, right? Kate, what kind of a bad mother are you to lose your child? Right? I mean, of course you're going to feel that and say that. I did. What kind of a father? I can't protect my own children, right? So then you turn of one of two things, all right? You either become a recluse on your own because you don't want to talk to people, or you're so mentally traumatized that when you do talk to people, like you have so much negative energy, nobody can handle it, right? And then they use absurdity, right, as strategy. So you tell them the truth of what's going on, and it's so absurd. They're like, Kate's must have lost her mind. So everything points back. Everything points back. But again, everything is dependent upon you being quiet.
Right.
You not telling people, us not getting together and putting the numbers together. Because what makes everything work in your case is it only works on a one-off. Right. On a one-off. right? When we sit there and analyze the agency that you're working with and analyze the numbers of people that go against science, how many of the population can possibly be in that 0.1%, 0.01% that are a danger to their own children?
Right.
It can't be 85% of the people you see, but nobody does those numbers. And that's what we're here to do, is to do those numbers by collecting it directly from the victims themselves. So just promise me, if they do cut off my head, somebody else take over, keep this going. The machine works. All right. It's going to change behaviors. We've got to keep highlighting the good people and putting them on the wall of fame. We got to keep exposing the bad people and put them on the wall of shame. And again, this social worker, she could just be a dumbass, right?
Which one?
It doesn't matter.
I've had 4 of them.
It doesn't matter.
Fourth one, recurrent one.
Bottom line is they don't have to be the devil.
Right.
All right. They're usually just dumb people. All right. Given too much power. And you know, if it was really explained to them the right way, you know, they got an opportunity to change it. You know, when they go on the wall of shame and every one of their friends and everyone knows that they're on the wall of shame and why they're on the wall of shame. Look, what I did was basically put my ex Georgie on the official wall of shame. I went and gave the play-by-play, and all of a sudden, her entire house of cards of this alternate reality disappeared. Right, which I want to talk to you, Kate. And the other difficult thing is, and I do want to get back to the supervision thing too, is one of the other decisions is how much is it necessary to report the crimes of the parental alienation, because that is a crime. Okay. Your ex's part in eliminating you from his child's life is a felony and will be a felony when I'm done. Okay. But in world and common sense is a felony. All right. I know I know just all the people. I don't need to know you 10 years. The bond between a mother and a child. How dare you think that a child doesn't need that? Just because you don't like this person anymore, you're breaking up. That's one thing. You're that effing stupid. You're that selfish. You can convince yourself that this child doesn't need the other parent. Georgie finally broke down a couple of years ago. I mean, no, a couple of months ago. And she finally started watching more and more of these things. And it hit her all at once. And she started bawling. And so I can't believe it. I said, I explained to her, and I was going to put this on my torture. And I was like, Georgie, do you have any idea of the pain that you caused, knowing how much? I mean, it came out of your mouth. Dave, you're not a good father. You're a great father.
And you are. It's
And,
evident.
and yet when you ripped them out of my life, I was 300 fucking yards away. And every day a nanny woke them up and a nanny put them to bed. And both of those kids were saying, where's my daddy? Where's my daddy? Why is my daddy here? It's another day without my daddy. Now I'm 300 yards away. They didn't have to be with a nanny. They could have been with me.
I'm not even allowed to know where my son is.
No, that's going to end. That's
Where
ended.
he lays his head at night. I don't even.
That's
know.
ended. No. The people involved in your case are in our crosshairs right now, and that's metaphorical, everybody. No. This is what I'd like you to really, really think about. Okay.
There's like 20 people who are complicit in this. I only listed off 3.
We got all the time in the world to print and publish every single one of them, and that's worked. CPS came after me too, earlier in the year with some absolutely brilliant things about. I groom teens to be gay with all my free time. I don't know if you know that about me, Kate.
Yes.
Sure. So much free time running a hedge fund and one of the largest human rights charities for 16 hours a day. For shits and giggles, it's just I can't even put two and two together. But the thing is I shut them down immediately. Well, I can't claim a victory because if you look at my record in Connecticut, it's peppered with all these arrests and no-shows for complete fraud, all of it that we've proven. So I can't say that I've won, but all I know is by me immediately publishing and recording and refusing to not record the conversation and then publishing it here on the public record. It's amazing how they just don't want to follow up after that, But again, it was different. Okay. People have gone to their personal Facebook page and paid the price for it. Okay. It's different, people. I'm sorry. Putting it on a public ledger that's been set up by a 30-year fiduciary on Wall Street. All right. That's backed up on a blockchain that's backed up by $250,000 worth of business building is different than you publishing it on your public Facebook page. So stop being selfish and come in and be selfless. That is what works here. All right. I'm trying to get through to people because we don't have time to fuck around anymore. We don't. All right? We don't have time to sit here and contemplate the best plan. This is the plan. This is the plan. We're going with it. You're either on board or you're not. Okay. Nobody else, bottom line, nobody else has shown an ounce of success with anything. They've been frauds everywhere. Oh, I'm going to change a law. Oh, really? We just watched them break 500 laws in broad daylight. What's 502? Dumbass. It's about law enforcement. What is going to change that? What is going to make the FBI get out of their office and go do their job? I don't know, maybe an international complaint, okay, signed off by 125 countries. It's certainly not going to be the same shit that everyone else has tried for 35 years, all right? So anyone who could sit there and justify not following this plan, if you really care about the kids and really care about winning, you will take your opinion of me out of the equation. If you love your child, your opinion of Dave Weigel should not matter at all. Because if it does, it's about your ego.
But you can love your child and love Dave Weigel.
I would seriously hate me for just the existence of that shirt. So I get it. I understand. But I will tell you what we're doing here is the most important thing I've ever imagined. This is the largest story on the globe. We have exposed the largest regulatory fraud of all times. Okay. It is breaking the Bar Association as we speak because facts are just facts. It's out, right? It's a matter of time. It's a ticking time bomb, right? The best they can do is hide it for 20 years before it keeps getting kicked around and kicked around and kicked around and kicked around. And then finally people are going to pay, right? But, the lawyers in this country have formed a mafia. Bottom line.
Some people forget that judges are lawyers first before they become judges. Yeah,
and people forget that all the regulators are bar card holders. Guess who took my letters from me? All right.
Bar card holders.
Was he a CFP or was he a JD?
JD.
Yeah. But working and getting paid for by the Certified Financial Planners Board. So for a guy who has no client complaints, performance ranks for his clients in the top 0.1%, all right, did the most fiduciary thing I've ever heard when I was having seizures, had no legal obligation to do it. I felt people have 90% of their money with me, 100% of their money, they should know, right? And I lost a lot of clients. And I told them, I said, I'm having these seizures. It's from the stress of this divorce. They don't know how, telling me to get my affairs in order. And then I was lucky. And the reason why I've stepped forward is because anyone who's ever gotten anywhere, if they don't attribute any luck to it, they're a liar and a loser. I was lucky I had a vision. I had a moment, a white light moment. I was able to see my kids' lives without me in it. I saw actual moments, of them explaining why their daddy's dead. And I just said, no, it's just everything changed. This is the only thing that exists. I don't care about money anymore. I don't care about Wall Street. I don't care about success. I care about my clients. Everyone's doing very, very, very well. All right. I just said that this is the only thing. And I got lucky enough to find the one journalist with the balls to actually publish the stuff that you can get you retaliated against. Okay. I'm sorry. Some of you other, journalists out there that want to sit there and say you're supporting the family court thing and then look at passport stamps and still describe it as allegedly. Okay. No, he wasn't in the country because I know how to read passport stamps. And you're misrepresenting. You're not playing middleman. You're misrepresenting. And you're a pussy. And I'm sorry, but these things need to be said because leadership needs to emerge. All right. And we need to now close this thing and really just do this. And what I'm saying is, I think you need, and I want to preface this with what Cindy has done on the opposite side. So this was the first 6 months. Her kids were stolen from her in December, right? And she's chosen with me. I didn't advise her this. This just happened organically from her. All right. Honestly, I didn't get it at first. I was a little worried. Her family was giving her a lot of shit. Hey, you've got a call with your daughter. Don't you want to get on? Don't you? And then it was like the lawyers were saying, she's choosing a man over her children. Like, what another stab, in the back. No, she was protecting her kids. At 76 years old, developmentally delayed, every time you introduce mommy again, you're stabbing them again. You're stabbing them. So out of sight, out of mind has been horrible for him. But Cindy being forced to see them. Oh, yeah. And by the way, she had to be only in Kentucky and alone, meaning not with me. Who does this judge think she is? You're an elected buffoon. You think you can tell another human being you have to choose your children or your kids? And this is what I want to show the international community. When you have this nuclear combination of judicial discretion backed up by the largest regulatory fraud of all times, what does that environment create or allow for? That's what the Warrior Project is showing. All right, we've shown you the type of attorneys. Okay, we had that piece in Ulster County about the Black Widow. Right, that this one was actually like fucking all of her clients. Okay, marrying them and then divorcing them. It was like 2 or 3. Like she's been like married and divorced like 6 times. Right, when think of the craziness that occurs, and that's what I want to impress upon you. All right, is you're going to get a lot of mental freedom when you finally realize that none of the details matter. None of the details matter. Think about it. They're just sitting, they've already made up their mind, right? So they're just sitting there and looking to use anything. And even if it's the most absurd thing in the world, if it's only you and them that know it, right? It's another form of abuse. That's how much power I have. I have the power to lie to you to this degree, Kate. I own you so much. I could lie to you to this degree. So what is the solution to that? bing, global exposure, show everybody what's happening. Okay. And that's why the fly on the wall piece so big, because we're talking about it. You're talking about it right now. These lawyers, they all get, oh yeah, okay, Kate's crazy. That guy Weigel. I mean, look at his hair. I mean, yeah. But the numbers and being a fly on the wall, right? Actually having the evidence. Okay, I don't care. I'm not telling anyone to break the law, right? But whose law and for what reason, right? But like I said to the CFP board guy, he also took my letters because he said I fail to cooperate with the investigation. No, I said at year 3, when this has already been decided by FINRA and the SEC for the previous 5 years, okay, you still busting my balls is now harassment, and you still now regulating the Warrior Project as a financial planner, okay, you are committing a crime. You are serving the Bar Association at the expense of the CFP board. Now look at all this conversation here that's on permanent public record about the CFP, which is CFP guys are the smartest guys out there. Everybody that's a CFP has put in anywhere between like 1,100 and 1,500 hours of hardcore study time. They have a larger fail rate than the Bar Association. These are smart guys, but these are also people who chose to be fiduciaries, chose to be somebody that it's illegal for me not to act in your best interest. All right. And that's what hurts about this. Okay. Is I was extremely proud to be a CFP because it represented everything I believe. And I'm still going to be a fiduciary for the rest of my life, no matter, I don't need letters to tell me to do that. All right. But the thing, again, getting back to your case, is if it is already harming the kids already, what about the next move, refusing, going blitzkrieg, putting their pictures up, trying your case on permanent public record, on the Warrior Project? Your kid should have never been taken. It's a crisis. All right. At this point, supervised visitation hurts. Right now, maybe for 3 months, this is maybe for 4 months or something. You can't play their playbook, right? That's not going to win. All right, it's got to be something that comes out of left field they haven't seen before, and they certainly haven't seen this. All right,
they're not expecting me to speak up. They're expecting that I've been, pardon my language, but the state's bitch for the past 18 months.
No. They are expecting you to speak up. They're expecting you to speak up. They see it all the time, and they know how to punish people for it. All right. You get less time with your kids. They throw you in jail, just like Cindy got thrown in jail for something ridiculous that no mother should. I mean, for 45 days. Absolutely. And they do this all over the place. All right. Throwing mothers in jail. All right. Fathers for being 2 cents shy. All right. Dustin Wichman, 2 cents shy in child support. All right. But everything is dependent upon the person speaking up being that person in your sphere of corruption, in your court. Doesn't work when it's Dave Weigel coming at you from Manhattan. All right. What the hell are you going to do in Boise, Idaho? Okay. Pick up the phone and call, the first precinct. Go say, we need Dave Weigel. Now you got to find me running around the world.
Well, if I get arrested this week, it's even more obvious that it's retaliation.
Right. And just like I said before the Monica Ciardi protest, and I really thought I was getting calls till 2:00 in the morning saying, Dave, you're too important to the movement. This is one of the most corrupt towns in New Jersey. They're going to slam you to the floor. The second you get there, they're going to lose your paperwork, and you're going to be, in jail longer for you to hold on to everything you've worked for in your life. And I had a real big decision to make before that. I really, it was my kid's future, and I had to weigh immediate future versus global and what I think I could do. And at the end of the day, I just felt confident that I knew we were going to pull this off. And I knew that this would work, where the night before I said, well, I've got a message for the person that's going to do the arresting, the illegal arresting of David Weigel. I've got actually a film crew coming because they're recording a documentary. So smile pretty for the camera, motherfuckers. And again, right, some people will understand that, you know, as a negative, right? But when you're dealing with corrupt people, right, that actually can do that, this is what they respond to. They're cowards. Okay, this kind of talk is what's necessary. All right, if you notice, why is there 80% of our members women? Okay, you guys are not built to battle and be in a street fight, right? You're tough people. All right, the toughest warriors in this crowd have been women, but you're not genetically trained to fight. This is a fight. This is a war. This is Gestapo tactics, like the Gestapo tactics, making your child see you as a criminal on a regular basis, conditioning your child.
Yeah, like mommy's not safe for you to be around by yourself.
Mommy's not safe, right? You're conditioning the child to believe that.
He knows it's not true, which is what's messing with him even more.
But here's the thing. Here's what you're up against, and you got to face. You got to understand the other sciences, and I've studied this with those 15,000 hours. Is a child cannot break the bond with both parents. So if they successfully break the bond with you, no matter how right you are, your child cannot make the decision to break the bond with dad, because
I'm the only parent he has.
He's alone. He's alone.
Yeah, I've been a single mom since day one, basically. But my ex-husband disappeared when my son was 17 months old and has not even responded to any of this stuff.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that of your case, but that's an important factor I try to get out every time. All right. It's just science, right? A child, okay, for 300,000 years, if it broke the bond with both parents, it was alone on the Serengeti. It was lunch. Okay. Human nature, it prevents that. Okay. So if they can manufacture a disconnect with mom, right, or dad, right, then that child eventually is going to make whatever's his easiest decision. You know, I know that when I shit talk dad or shit talk mom, I get more love. They're going to do that. You know, I know when I blow off mom or dad, I get more love, right? Eventually, the child's brain can only take so much. So they will believe what they're being fed because they can't break that bond. Now, in your case with this foster care shit, all right, this is just disgusting. This is just money, okay? We will expose every single nook and cranny of fraud involved in your case. If it takes 2 years, it's going to be must-see TV. We are going to publicize every single person involved, and we will do our research to make sure, all right, that we are reporting the truth. And again, Kate, I got to tell you, I can tell everybody, if we find out that you are lying in a very, very big way or leaving something out that is absolutely material, I'm sorry, but everyone's children are more important than any one person. Okay. It happens. There's a lot of times we're dealing with, sometimes the reality is that this happens with mothers a lot. The ends justify the means, right? Where all of a sudden, you know, this conversation of abuse, my child's being abused. My child's being abused. I had that conversation with Jessica Strong last night, you know, and I was unclear. Was it physical abuse? Was it mental abuse? So a picture, I said, listen, just, you have to understand the reality. The reality is that it's very, very easy for some people to sit there and be okay with lying about that. coercing a child to say that the child has been abused when they have not been abused.
Well, the
All
beauty
right.
of my situation is I record every single interaction from the time I exit my vehicle until I'm back in my vehicle. So this is all coming from my child's mouth spontaneously when I'm like reading a book to him. He's just blurting out random things. So it's nothing that's being elicited, it's nothing that's being coerced, and it's his own voice saying it. And I have that for the past 18 months because I know who I'm dealing with and I know that they lie.
Well, I'd like to propose. Me and Amy and Kristen and again, been talking about this a long time. Is that I think your case should also be one of the ones that we are simultaneously trying at the very same time in the old system and in the new system. Right? Every single thing that you've got to do in the old system, we're coordinating here. I'm not talking about invading your private time and recording your supervised visitation or anything.
I do.
It's about exposing the fraud. It's
No,
about,
but I do record it and I'm happy to give that to you.
right. But the point is, every official document that submits to court, you officially add it to your case file here. How do you do that, everybody? This is going to be Kate's centerpiece. This will be in the guide section. Okay. And every time she gets more evidence. And I would also encourage anyone in the world, this is the way the truth and transparency machine works. If you have evidence that that Kate is lying, put it up.
Please.
Put it up for the world to see. For me, I'm a fraud everywhere. The SEC missed it. Morgan Stanley missed it. UBS missed it. Charles Schwab missed it. 30 years on Wall Street. The SEC missed it. But don't worry. Doug Sheridan, IT support specialist, he figured it out. He figured it out with no evidence, by the way. Right? So,
But what's really terrifying though is if this can happen to me, not that I'm so special, but literally every single person who's known me for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, people whose children I've taken care of, I've taken care of hundreds of children over the course of my life. They're like, you of all people. And so it's like, if it can happen to me, this can happen to literally anyone. Because if someone told me 3 years ago that this would be my reality, I would have asked what drugs they were on.
And honestly, we were looking for a campaign case that was more specifically tied to just CPS, right? And yours is it. And yours is it. Okay. You don't need to be a PhD to realize that you're not in the 0.001% of mentally ill, dangerous, criminal-minded people that have to have their child removed.
No, I'm the person where if I thought you were the biggest a-hole in the world and you said, please punch me in the face, I couldn't do it. Like, I might dislike my judge. Might dislike the social workers, caseworkers. I might not think highly of them at all. Right. But really, I feel bad. Don't want to hurt them. I feel bad for them because they're so weak that they can't stand up to people.
Well, some of them
They're
are
just
that.
sheep.
Yeah, some of them are sheep, right? Like some of the cops, okay, that just see this stuff happening all over the place. And it's hard for me to really blame them because I'll start blaming them once we see that we've really made momentum and there's not enough insiders stepping forward, because I've gotten a lot of calls from a lot of people from the inside saying, Dave, when there's enough people, I'll be able to jump in. All right. I cannot lose my pension. I have responsibilities and I get that. But when we're ready to step forward with 2,000 cops, okay, signing off, and court officers signing off saying, I want an end to this. We are with the Warrior Project. Your name better be on it. Okay. That's the time that's the time to be stepping forward. All right. I get it. Somebody needed to jump in the pool first and put the big crosshairs on their back. Hi, Dave Weigel signed up for that. But
that's why we love you.
Well, not everybody and not all the time. Just ask Amy. But they should, what people need to do is to love the Warrior Project because it works. Take Dave Weigel out of this thing. It's already been built. This conversation is history, right? Your video is history. All right. People are going to look to see what evidence you post in the comments section. Okay. Our group will be doing that as well. I would encourage, and I'm speaking to all of you, because we will be putting your faces and your pictures and your names on permanent public record. But here's the difference about how you've been able to get away with it before versus now. Before, the only people speaking out were the people in your zone of corruption that you could hurt. You can't hurt me. You can't find me. You can't stop me. You can't stop the Warrior Project. Right? It's going to happen. There's 24,000 people behind me. So you got an opportunity right now to change your ways. You got an opportunity, and I am absolutely willing. Any wall of shame candidate that wants to own their shit and step forward and do the right thing and change a decision. If you want to come in the Kate Malone case right now and say, I don't want to be a part of this international criminal complaint. I've been forced to go along with this. I didn't want to rock the boat. This is the business model. I'm in agreement. I'm giving the kid back to Kate. You will be on our wall of fame forever. All right. Everybody on our wall of shame has an opportunity to get off. You got to own it and then make it right. And then you come off. And then you come off. We are not a hate group. We are a behavioral change machine.
And I believe my judge has the ability to make the proper decision in this situation, because he said things all along the way, even from the first hearing, where it sounds like he's going to agree with me, and then he changes
That's
it.
a scam. No. That's so commonplace.
Oh, no,
It's
I know.
so
But what I'm
commonplace.
saying is he knows deep down that what he's doing is wrong.
Absolutely.
He knows that this is at the expense of a minor disabled child.
Absolutely.
So he has,
Absolutely.
I would call on him the most of anyone in the
And what is his name? And what is his name?
Nathan Todd Young, but he goes by Todd Young.
Nathan Todd Young, operating out of what courthouse?
It's the East Fork District Courthouse. It's in Minden, Nevada.
Is it the Minden, Nevada family court?
Yes. So basically it says,
What's the official working address? You can't give, by the way, everybody, don't be like the stupidados out there and give judges home addresses out anywhere ever. That is a no.
it says Honorable Nathan Todd with 1D Young, and it says Douglas County District Court.
Douglas County District Court. The Honorable.
Yes.
Honorable.
Douglas. And I have their address.
Douglas Nathan. What's his name? Douglas Nathan.
Young? Todd Young. So it's Judge Young out of Douglas County District Court. He's a district court judge, and he does like civil things as well as juvenile matters. And their business address is 1038 Buckeye Road.
No, don't even do it. Okay, no, we're putting out an APB Warrior Project as this goes out. Kristen, please do a power clip on that for Judge. Say the name again.
Judge Young. It's Nathan Todd G-O-D Young. But he goes by Todd Young out of Minden, Minden, Nevada, by Carson City.
What's the family court name?
It's Douglas County District Court.
Douglas County District Court. We are putting an APB out for all people, all individuals that have faced this judge. We want the good stories more than the bad. We want the bad stories, but we know that they're going to come in. I am specifically asking people that have had good experiences with this judge please make record of it. The more honest this system is, the more it's going to be respected. Okay? The more it's going to be respected. But what's going to happen at this point is if we get 5 families to say that this same level of atrocity, that a beautiful mother who's clearly not in the 0.001% of the population, so dangerous or crazy that she needed to be removed from her child and her child put into foster care. Her child was put into foster care for one reason and one reason only, and that's the business model we've exposed. It's the Title 4D reimbursement dollars. All right. And how we're going to catch you now is by the numbers. Before, nobody had a mechanism to find all of your victims, right? We do now, right? This is going to get out to everyone, right? And if you're a monster like the other ones on our wall of shame, where the number of victims are, and I also want to put out there to everybody, you have a choice of whether, because of the retaliation, you have a choice whether you want to be public or private. You have my utmost guarantee. I don't know how I could possibly guarantee it. All right. We can still use your data by just having it, okay, behind a firewall without reporting it. All right. Without reporting it. All right. And the bottom line is if we get 5 families, this judge goes on our wall of shame. And now we encourage it to go around to get the total number of victims. And you want to know when you're going to get your kid back? Okay. When his head explodes from 5 victims reported to 7 to 12 to 15. I'm sorry, I don't have a direct link as to what's going to change in there. All I know is that environment is going to spark change in some way, shape, or form. All right.
Well, I know there are 38 pinwheels outside the courthouse in April for Child Abuse Awareness Month, and one of those pinwheels represented my son. So I know that there are 38 children who were in foster care in my county this year. So there's a good probability, even if there's 2 to 3 children per household, that there could be positive reviews and negative reviews of him, because there are only 2 judges in my town.
Right. The bottom line is you're not crazy. Your child should never have been removed.
Absolutely.
It is a crime against humanity. All right. And Nathan Todd Young needs to understand another thing you've been relying on that doesn't exist anymore. And that is, yes, you're immune in the United States. You're not immune to the international criminal courts. No judge, no nobody. There's no statute of limitations. All right. And then there's no immunity. Now, when you are served this criminal complaint, a crime against humanity, right? You're part of the monster crew that is going down, that is being the poster children of this epidemic. You are officially there now. You have a choice of just blowing it off, okay? And that's going to be reported in the press. Why are you afraid to answer these questions? If you followed the law, if you've done everything 100% right with Kate Malone, why are you so afraid of transparency? But if you do answer it, we're going to make press out of that too. So you really have got no way out. Okay. This is it. This is the beginning of the end, because it is intelligent transparency. You have a hero sitting here that's willing to step up, that's willing to be the first person to turn their phone around. When I asked, I need everybody to now show me the torture you've been through. And that's what I'm putting out to everybody out here as well. And we're going to end it right now. It's going really long. Is we have a new 3 to 5 minute global campaign. And I mean global campaign. All right. This time it's not tell me how they hurt you, tell me how they hurt your children. This time it's purely reveal the torture. You remember the moments you were most tortured. Tell that story. All right. Again, 3 to 5 minutes is for a reason too, guys. All right. We can't have trauma dumpers, okay, in here doing 45-minute spiels. All right. It just doesn't work. All right. It's totally understandable. We've all done it. All right.
Mine was 15 in 1 second, so it's a little long.
It's okay. It's okay. We're not gonna highly enforce it, right? But I have gotten, and I think I've personally been the guy that sent like 18 texts, you know what I mean, to someone who was just like, "How you doing today?" It's part of the complex, PTSD. All right, but Kate Malone, you are an extremely valued new volunteer for the Warrior Project. Kate has graciously offered up to 20 hours a week of her time. We're finding her specialty to see where she's going to be, most effective. We are putting an APB out too. We are taking on more volunteers as we're going global and getting bigger. We have more things to do. This new technology, the AI stack coming in here. We need volunteers. Please reach out to amy.d at fraudwarrior.org. Everybody is fraudwarrior.org. Right. So it's Dave at Fraud Warrior, Amy.D, because we used to have 2 Amy's, right? So Amy.D, that's the only hard one. Erin, RIN at fraudwarrior.org, or you can just good old help at fraudwarrior.org.
And I even have one too.
Yeah, we got a lot to give. We finally got the charity version where they give us a lot more email addresses than we first had when Doug Sheridan first set up his system to try. He tried to Zuckerberg me. He came into the saying, "Dave, I've evaluated all these projects, and you're the guy I'm going to get behind. You're the guy I'm going to get behind." And then his batshit wife, was immediately, recognized for that. She couldn't pass the 3 to 5 minute video. She couldn't do it. So the machine worked already. She could not. She's lying so much that she couldn't do anything that made enough sense. Right? She's actually claiming that, and told me to my face that the father was raping the 1-year-old baby. I was like, wow. I was like, how'd you know that? I was figuring like hospital records or, oh no hospital records. The baby told him in baby talk, "Goo gaga. By the way, I was sexually assaulted last night by my father." Sure. I found out, I got calls from her sister, the actual father, all right, who warned and said, "Be very careful. These are very dangerous people," because they're narcissists, okay? And they, this is what they live for, all right? But my microphone is louder than yours. You don't have enough money to sue me, and you're not going to win if you sue me because everything I'm saying is backed up, all right? And you're not going to harm any other people, all right? You're not going to harm any other people. Let me ask you one final question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really understand how much this is not your fault?
I do now. And it's because of you.
Douglas
County District Court.
Douglas County District Court. We are putting an APB out for all. Okay.
I'm going to add a picture of this judge.
And he wasn't trying to. No, it's really, really, really important because the most sinister thing that they do, more than the bad, is, and when they can control you the most, stories, and make you commit suicide or die for other reasons is when you start believing the shame.
I did for a while.
You start believing the shame. One thing now, every member of this 24,000, and anyone who's ever looked down their nose at you and said, okay, Kate lost her children? Oh my God. You get to go back to them and say, hey, dumbass, take a look at the Fraud Warrior Project. Turns out I'm really a victim of a nationwide scam. Has nothing to do with me. It's not me as a bad mother. It's you as an idiot.
Well, I was just an easy target too. Single
And,
mom.
and I'm just saying that because human tendency is like, why does it work? People like to feel superior to other people. All right. They love to shame other people to feel superior. All right. And that will just be good for your soul. Right. If there's been one person out there that really has shamed you, go and do that. Go and send them to the site and let them know what a moron they are, because the thing that we try to do the most, to help people is understand, you know what I mean, on the mental health side. Few things, right? Amy, do you want to be added to the stream or not, baby? All right,
We can't hear you. Now we can.
Yeah. Do you want to be added?
I'm about to give y'all a picture of this judge because he is so douchey. I
Okay.
couldn't stand it.
Okay. Go ahead.
She's stepping on me.
Yeah, we might as well end it on that. For the betting people out there, all right. Let me see. I'm pretty good with probabilities here. Okay, I'm going to put a 96% probability that we're going to find 10 or more victims of the same judge.
I already met one from 10 years ago.
She
knew who I was dealing with. She said, do you have Judge Young? Because I was just upset and buying essential oils, and she had no idea what my situation was.
Please, everybody understand, know the answer to your family court problem is not getting your story out there, right? The answer to your problem is one of us has got to win. Someone's got to go down. Someone's got to be the first to go down. Once one goes down, the system changes. It just makes sense from there.
Amy asked that I show.
Oh, God, how many times did you get beat up in high school?
He's a Halloween baby, too.
I wonder how they justify it, right? And this is how they justify it, right? They're not going to live on a $135,000 government salary when they have all that power. They are going to participate in the game. They're going to participate in the game because they know for years and years and years, there has been no regulator. There's been no way for them to be caught. There's been no way. But we found the way. All right. World-changing innovations. The internet as permanent public record, social media as a way to connect all these victims we could have never connected before, and AI technology that can simply count. Doesn't need to do that much analysis, just needs to do arithmetic. Right?
And also, I would encourage people who've dealt with the Carson City DCFS office to speak up, because I know from my prior attorney, that's the one handling my case. They cover Carson City County, Douglas County, and a county called Story County. That they don't play by the book at all at the office I'm dealing with. So that would be people in northern Nevada, between Reno and Carson City, or a little south of Carson City.
Okay. Good. I'm trying to just read a couple of these comments coming in from something Colorado creatures. We do have a solution to report it without you having to be held accountable. Wonderful.
I know who that is.
Wonderful. What's that solution?
Oh no, it's one of our guys who's very active and is a volunteer.
Oh.
And has a beautiful little girl.
Oh. Is that Frankie?
Yeah.
It's Frank's fault, by the way. That's a mantra. It's Frank's fault.
It's always Frank's fault.
It's always Frank's fault. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for dedicating all this time. I know it is you, Frankie, baby. I wasn't reaching the whole thing. We need to get this big. I know it's so annoying every time you watch anybody on YouTube. They're always begging for the subscriptions and click the notifications. But this is a real thing. This is a real need. I will never, ever profit a dime off the Family Court Fraud Warrior Project. I will never, ever, swearing on my children and my life, make $1 off anything to do with the Family Court Fraud Warrior Project. Okay, again, eventually my plan is I will be respected for this and be known in the charitable world, and people will want to work with my hedge fund. Okay, so you do some good deeds. Okay, they come back to you. People respect your intelligence in one area. Okay, I'm not. I have to put that disclosure out there. I will never make $1 off of the amount of exposure this gets. We need this to get that kind of exposure. All right, we need it to get to the people. And now I'm specifically asking the Europeans. All right, you guys, it's much closer to you guys. Your grandfather's stories and your mother and father's stories is very, very close to home, right? You know what life is like under a tyrant, living in a place without the rule of law. Without the rule of law, right? You know what it's like to live without free speech, right? You know what it's like to live in a place like there's no jobs, all right? I'm sitting here talking to people around here. The average salary where I'm at right now in this town is $1,000 at this 5-star hotel. The hotel workers make $1,000 a month in Europe.
Wow.
Okay. So we need everybody, okay, connected to this news channel and staying connected. We're going to give this is must see TV. You're going to see what happened next in Kate's case, what happened next in Bryce's, what happened next in Cindy's, what happened next. All right. All right. It can't be everybody's. We're always looking for what represents the worst of the worst and the example that can spark the biggest Me Too. The same thing happened to me. 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 So if everybody else in the community can please stop being competitive and try to convince the world that you really are an advocate while you're shit talking this project when you know that it has the best chance of working. If you are a real advocate, you do not need to do that. You sit there and say, participate in the Warrior Project and my project, okay, which is what we've always said. Said, if you believe in something else, continue doing it. Does not take long here, all right? Be a part of this project too. Don't you dare kid yourself or anyone out there be stupid enough. If anything's coming out of somebody's mouth is negativity about, me, okay, or the Warrior Project, or just some blanket ridiculous, it's such a horrific allegation that you don't need, a conviction. Ask yourself, does this person really care about me this much? Just doesn't want me to get mixed up with a fraud, even though there's no logical pattern. Like, okay, so how is Dave Weigel now going to hurt Kate Malone? Okay. Well, the answer to that is put you in harm's way. Put you in harm's way for retaliation.
I put myself there. Not you didn't do that. I'm a grown up. I made the choice. They're going to do what they're going to do, regardless of if I spoke out or not. So why not speak out? Because this is my child on the line and other people's children on the line.
I can't live a slave. I won't live my children's live a slave. You're doing the same thing as well. And I will tell you that our immediate response is 1 to 10. Okay. For every one time they retaliate against a warrior project, we hit them 10 times. 10 times. That is the math involved that I figured out. All right. And we will do our research. We will do our homework. All right, we've got resources to vet things. We are going to make sure that we go and we're not going to falsely report. But let me just tell you something. Very, very few people in CPS are innocent in the country. Very, very few people in the family courts are innocent. I don't care if you're a clerk just sitting there. You know what's going on. You know what you're doing. You're a transcriber. You've doctored those. You know it's going to the attorney and they're changing it. You know. All right. You got an opportunity. All right. You could be on our side and say, I'm willing to be one of the private people. I won't even give you my name right now. All right. Reach out to us. Give us some information. Okay. You can set up an email address, says anything. I'm one of the insiders that's willing to step forward once there's 100 of us stepping forward at the same time. All right. There's our solution to that. But I'm telling you now, we are going to have a field day with showing the power of the truth and transparency machine to not only expose these horrific people, but expose them through the light of this torture, again, this family terrorism. And the way the mechanism works is gossip. People are going to know you've been mentioned on this thing. And when everyone knows what you really do for a living, that's when things change.
They're making money off of damaging children.
That's when things, and they know. The point is, nobody's plastering it on a billboard on 42nd Street. I'm looking into how much that costs. I have an inn over there. I think I can get a pretty huge discount.
Nice.
I'm thinking about when the day that we announce the international criminal complaint, plastering every single judge and attorney that is named in this, and especially my assholes, Chief John DeFederico and Carlos Prado. Yes, for an entire day, it will be plastered on 42nd Street. Your picture and your name as the dirty pieces of shit that you are. All right. The frauds that you are. How you do not serve and protect. How you are criminals with a badge. And that's how we're going to change the world. Good night, everybody. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.